Can you hear us and see us? We love you.
Yes, we love you, and welcome to Table Read Tuesday's reading of Breaking Bad, what some consider one of the best series ever. And we're about to read what some say is like a perfect ending to a perfect series. So with this being the very last episode, definitely has spoilers. So if you haven't seen the show, you might want to see that first if you want to see it without spoilers. And with the subject matter of this show, there will be violence. It does talk about drugs and other stuff like that. So if you're not a fan of that, you've been warned. And so for right now, we'll go around and introduce you to the stellar cast that will be reading it. So in my upper left, I have Morgan Toll.
Hey guys, I'm Morgan Toll, and as always, excited to be here.
Excited to have you, excited for everyone to be here, including Aaron.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Okay, great. And I will be playing Todd and Jesse tonight.
Okay, awesome. And Vicky.
Hello, Vicky Dykes here from Central Alberta, and today I'll be reading Skylar. Really excited about this one.
Awesome. And we have Roxane.
Roxane Armstrong, also from Central Alberta, and very happy to be here. I'm reading Lydia today.
Awesome. And Clint Monroe.
Hey, Clint Monroe from San Diego. I'm reading Jack, Frankie, Skinny Pete, and The Waiter. And yeah, that's me.
Awesome. And next we have Roger Anthony.
Grateful to be here with y'all, reading from Hotlanta, reading Walt.
Sweetness. And now greetings from somewhere, Petra Stedman.
It says greetings from Berkey. It's a mural in the city. So
All right.
Albuquerque. Greetings from from Berkey. So people who live there would recognize it. I'm just kidding. Hi, Petra Stedman, reading action descriptions. Good night for you.
Awesome. Thank you. And we have Heather Lee Cameron.
Hi, my name is Heather Lee Cameron. I live in Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada, and I will be playing Gretchen.
Ooh, nice. And last but certainly never least, Angelina Peterson.
Hi, I'm going to be playing Marie and a waitress.
Sweet. And I'm Jacob Patrick. I'll be playing Hank, Badger, and Kenny, not Keddy. Let's fix that. All right. So we'll share and we'll get started on this masterpiece. Dun, dun, dun. Here we go. Petra, take us away.
Breaking Bad, Felina, episode 516. Mulder cameo! Wow, early on. We have him from the start. Cool. Anyway, written and directed by Vince Gilligan. Sony Pictures Television, Inc.
All rights reserved. Here we go. Cast.
Sorry, it says no portion of this can be recreated or performed. We're going to have to cancel the raid. So sorry, everybody.
I didn't see that. Okay, this was a short one, you guys. It was nice to have you here. Thank you for showing up.
We're just going to talk straight to trivia. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see that. Even right now, I don't know.
Hello.
Hey, Aaron, sounds good. All right.
Okay. Teaser, a white frame is what we're looking at. Pure white. That's all we see. All right, so maybe if we stare at it long enough, we begin to make out a bit of detail, some texture, a crystal structure in various shades of white and blue, white, and gray. Off screen, we hear a muffled flump, flump, flump of footsteps. The vague shadow of a man appears, approaching us. He stops before us, staring our way. All we see of him is a head and shoulders and ill-defined silhouette. What the hell are we looking at? Is this one of our patented Breaking Bad shots, staring straight up through a fresh batch of crystal meth? Could be, except it isn't. No, we tilt down a little now to an old-fashioned car door lock. You remember these? If you do, you'll realize this one stands tall in the unlocked position. The silhouetted man reaches towards us, rubbing at the field of white with a finger. He rubs off a little circle of snow on this car window we're framed upon. He bends down, places a single eye to this cleared off patch. He peers in at us, noting the unlocked lock. Then, ka-chunk! He pulls open this door. We are, interior old Volvo sedan night. Walter White climbs behind the wheel, settling down a familiar package on the seat beside him. We'll recall this as the box of cash we established in episode 515. Same box, same clothes. The sun is set, but we're picking up only an hour or two after 515 ended. We're still in New Hampshire in the same small village. Walt carefully shuts the driver's door. This is because for the moment, he'd like to keep in place the thick blanket of snow which covers the windshield and every window. It will afford him much needed privacy for what he has to do next. Please note that this teaser will take place entirely within the confines of the Volvo. Except for the final shot, we will always be right here inside it with Walt. Breaking Bad 5. Okay. Whatever light there is comes from unseen streetlights filtering through the snow. When Walt opened the door just now, what little we saw outside was maybe the brick wall of an alley or some such. That's all. This is going to feel claustrophobic. It's supposed to. The plan here is for us to be able to shoot this on stage. We may need to refrigerate the set as we'll want constant freezer smoke coming from Walt's mouth. Sorry, Brian. Having closed the door, Walt rubs his hands and blows on them, desperately trying to warm up. He's shivering, teeth chattering. He's been out in the cold too long, evading the local police as per last episode. He's coughing now too. Things are not looking good. He's in bad shape. First order of business is to start this Volvo, to get the heat fired up and get the hell out of here before he's busted. No key in the ignition. Beggars can't be choosers. Walt starts looking around and feeling around, atop the dashboard, under the seats, in the back seat, in the passenger footwell. He yanks open the glove box and fumbles in it, coming out with, what's this? Walt's POV, an old cassette case, is balanced half open and empty in Walt's fingers. It's Gunfighter Ballads and Trail Songs by Marty Robbins. A classic, but it's not going to help. Walt tries again, fishing deeper, and now, yes, a flathead screwdriver. Excellent. Walt goes to work with it, prying at the steering column. Has Walt ever hot-wired a car in his life? No, but how hard could it be, especially an old model like this? Once he breaks the column open and frees the ignition cylinder, it's probably just a matter of touching together two little wires. Two tiny little wires. Fuck, how do I get to those wires? Try as he might, Walt can't seem to crack the column open. What is this, Fort Knox? Who the hell designed this thing? He might have better luck on a warm and sunny, not dying of cancer day. But in his reduced state, so thin and cold and coffee, he can barely grasp the screwdriver. Walt senses defeat and begins to panic. He stabs at the column in frustration, embossing it with little rectangles. Straining with one Herculean effort, he slips and barks his knuckles. Ah! Now he flops back and just sits there, freezer smoke jetting out of his mouth like one of those Clydesdales on a Budweiser Christmas commercial. But he's not giving up.
You want this. You wouldn't have brought me this far if you didn't.
Wait, is this a prayer? If so, to whom is it addressed? Your call. Regardless, it doesn't seem to pay dividends because now blue lights can be seen flashing through the thick snow of the windshield. They're growing brighter, approaching us. An unseen police car is heading our way. We can tell it's cruising slowly, its headlights and rollers on but siren off, and now it slows to a crawl. It finally stops a mere 10 feet away. Walt sits motionless, wide-eyed and rigid. This cop car, invisible to us save for its blue flashers, is so damn close we can hear the squawk of its radio. Instinctively, Walt's got that screwdriver gripped tight like a weapon, otherwise he doesn't move a muscle. Do the cops know he's here? We hear no car doors opening, no shouted commands, but now, making Walt's sphincter pucker 2 stops tighter, a floodlight kicks on, practically blinding us. It sweeps back and forth very mechanically. It's searching through the snow at us, fishing. Walt is scared, somewhat. But mostly he looks angry. Under his breath and barely audible, the floodlight sweeping hither and yon, he continues his prayer.
Get me home. I'll do the rest.
The floodlight stops on him. Walt sits stock still, staring into it. He holds his breath. The last of the freezer smoke curls up and away. But now, snap. Just like that, the floodlight shuts off. With a last radio squawk, the cruiser eases off down the street. Its flashers disappear out the snowy rear window. Walt shuts his eyes briefly, giving silent thanks. Something profound just occurred here. Walt now knows he's going to make it home. He's meant to finish what he started. To that end, he assays his surroundings. There's a solution here. It hides in plain sight. Staring up at the twin sun visors over the windshield, he notes something. The passenger's visor is folded flush to the roof, while his own driver's visor hangs down an inch or so. It's a subtle distinction, but it's there if you look. Walt slowly reaches up with that screwdriver still in his hand. He uses it to flip down the visor. and a set of car keys tumbles out, landing with a faint clink in his lap. He barely cracks a smile. Why bother? All is as it should be. He sticks the key in the ignition and gives it a twist. The ice-cold Volvo lugs only once, then fires right up. When it does, the cassette deck kicks on. That great old Marty Robbins classic El Paso is in mid-run.
Or should we have a Marty Robbins? You want it more, Petra?
I don't know the beginning of the song that well. I know
Me
the
neither.
chorus. I think
I don't
everybody
know.
knows the chorus.
Just make it up on the spot.
I'm good. Somebody else.
Okay. I'm not going to try and sing, but I saddled up and away I did go, riding alone in the dark. Maybe tomorrow a bullet may find me. Tonight, nothing's worse than this pain in my heart.
It plays as Walt searches for the windshield wiper switch. In exterior, old Volvo sedan, night, white frame, this time seen from the outside. Squeeze, squeak. The windshield wiper blade sweeps through, plowing loose a pie wedge of fluffy snow. It reveals Walt behind it, staring at us, hands gripping the wheel. Off our determined pawn of fate, ready to roll, end teaser. Act 1. Exterior desert gas station day. A lonely pump island waits on the edge of the highway. Starting out as a shiny dot in the distance, the Volvo pulls off the road towards us. By the time it comes to a stop at the gas pumps, its windshield fills the frame. There's Walt behind the wheel, just like in the final shot of the teaser. After some 20 hours of driving, all that New Hampshire snow has long since melted. This Volvo is the same one from the Denny's in episode 501. Also, Walt has swapped his heavy parka for a familiar surplus jacket and is now dressed exactly as he was in that flash forward. Walt cuts the engine and climbs out, stretching his stiff and aching muscles. He's exhausted, but he's not letting that stop him. He's a lone blues brother minus the sunglasses on a mission from God. Clunk. Close on the gas inlet as a pump nozzle gets slammed home and clicked on. As the Volvo's tank fills, Walt notes a nearby water hose, the kind they provide so folks can fill their radiators. Walt splashes some water in his face. Coughing a bit now, he pats his pockets. Where did I stash my meds? Walt keys open the trunk, revealing that it is absolutely brimming with cash. Here are the entire contents of that barrel. Seems Walt stopped by his cabin and packed a few choice items before he hit the open road. There's a bit of room left over for a black overnight bag, again, something we established in 501, and Walt fishes in it for an amber pill bottle. He shuts the trunk, pops a pill, and washes it down with water sipped from the radiator hose. By the way, there's no danger of anybody seeing this money. There are a couple of cars parked in front of the station's convenience store, and maybe we glimpse a local or two across the way, but where he's standing, Walt's got privacy. Nobody pays attention to him. Exterior desert gas station, payphone day. A minute or two later, close on quarters getting shoveled into the coin slot of a sandblasted old payphone. Walt is finished pumping gas and stands here by the edge of the quiet highway, the receiver to his ear. A beat, and then...
Hi, this is David Lynn from the New York Times. May I speak to Susan? Thank you.
Cool Walt peruses a hangnail, then blandly stares off at the horizon. What the hell's he up to?
Hi, Susan. It's David again. I was just calling to see if, no, I figured we'd do the interview by phone, seeing as they're no longer in the city. But we'd really love a photo of Mr. and Mrs. Schwartz to go along with the article. We've got a stringer out of Albuquerque we like a lot. When are they scheduled to return home? I think maybe we could. Oh, so they're home tonight then. Gotcha. Are they still at the address I have is Upper Canyon Road? Is that? Oh, Tessa. Is that near the Opera House? I hear that's very nice.
Pulling up his sleeve, Walt writes an address on the inside of his forearm. Let's find an address we can clear.
Okay, then. Let me call my photographer, check out his availability. No, their call. Any day this week, we're at their disposal. I know the Schwartzes are very busy people. Listen, thank you very much for your time. You too. Bye-bye.
Whatever this is about, it does not sound like good news for Gretchen and Elliot. Walt hangs up and quietly satisfied. Off him, reflected in the steel casing of the payphone as he walks away from us, headed back to his car. Exterior mansion courtyard night. We tilt down from night sky to find a combed gravel parking area. It's backed by Bosque, which is landscaped and lit. It's very serene and pleasing. Into this frame drives a Bentley Continental. It pulls up before us, headlights flashing frame. It parks and its engine purrs off. Out climb Gretchen and Elliot Schwartz. Just arrived home from their trip to New York. They both look like $1 million. Happy and healthy, masters of the universe. Elliot pops the trunk and grabs their luggage, expensive Brioni or something like that. But the Schwartzes travel light. Meanwhile, they carry a good-natured argument.
Just saying, it's apples and oranges. There's no proper frame of comparison.
No frame of comparison? What's easier to compare than two restaurants?
No. I maintain, look, if I want pizza, I go to a pizza parlor. If I want Thai, I go to a Thai place. What purpose does it serve comparing pizza to Thai food? There's no...
Oh, please. This is different. Make a stand here. Make a stand.
You make a stand. I refuse to be self-limiting.
And on it goes like this, all smiles. This as they head into their fabulous mansion. We pull them along, revealing this place gradually. First, we pass two enormous wooden doors. These have been left open as we're technically outside. This brings us into a long walled courtyard.
All right. The proper answer is 21. Yes, because 21 has the history. I mean, come on. Prohibition, sweet smell of success.
And per se has Thomas Keller, game, set, match.
We let the Schwartzes pass out of frame, hinging on them to find a decorative fountain. It is placed off to one side of the courtyard, trickling and peaceful. And behind it, on a cushioned bench, sits Walt. Jesus! His presence startles us, so out of place is he. Unseen by the Schwartzes, Walt lazily rises to his feet. Interior mansion, entrance hall continuous. We're now looking out through two more enormous doors. These have glass in them, through which we see Elliot set down his bags and unlock the deadbolt. Entering the mansion proper, Elliot hits the lights and carries the bags on out of sight while Gretchen disarms the security keypad.
Yeah, but see, the whole vibe fits so much better in Uteville, I think. Transplant it to Manhattan, it starts to feel, I don't know, you know what I mean?
You transplant it to Islamabad and I'd still eat there.
In the deep background behind Gretchen, Walt appears. He's walking the opposite way. Where's he going? To those two giant oak doors. He closes them, shutting us inside here. Creepy. Meanwhile, here in the foreground, Gretchen shuts the inner door, too distracted by her conversation to even glance Walt's way. She too wanders out of frame.
You know, there's a thought.
Islamabad?
Napa. We really need to go back to Napa.
Their conversation continues off screen, pocket dialogue to follow. We hold here, looking through the glass of the inner door at Walt. He heads our way, taking his sweet time. Now here he comes through the front door like he owns the place. Unfortunately for Gretchen, she neglected to lock it. Jesus, the balls on this guy. No tippy-toeing, no furtive glances. He closes the door behind him, not slamming it, but certainly not being stealthy. We follow Walt down a Getty Villa-length hallway, which leads to the house's great room. He strolls along, his hands in his pockets, towards the sound of Gretchen and Elliot. Interior mansion, great room continuous. What a house. It's sleek and ultra-modern. There are a few science-related curios, but in the main, it's uncluttered. Walt drinks this place in, simultaneously admiring and envying it. All this could have been, should have been, his. And while he's idly glancing around, here's the thing. Gretchen and Elliot are standing just around the corner in the kitchen, and Walt couldn't care less.
I don't know. Sorry. I don't know. 2 Thanksgivings ago? Geez, 2 at least.
I know, way too long, right?
While Elliot cuts slices of Asian pear, Gretchen finds them a good bottle of wine.
How's this?
Perfecto. Hit the fireplace, would you?
Gretchen pads into the great room now, into the same room as Walt, who can't be more than 15 feet behind her. And focused as she is on the fireplace, she still doesn't see him. She grabs a special remote control off the coffee table, aims it at the gas logs on the hearth.
We could do it after the 31st, after the shareholders thing. What's that first weekend of the month?
The 3rd, I think.
We could call George and Dolores, have them drive up from Marin. Oh, and Bill and Miriam Cohen.
Poof, the fireplace roars to life. Gretchen tosses the remote, turns back to her husband.
Then we could all, ah!
And finally, spotting Walt, Gretchen gives a gasp and stops dead, stopping and frozen in her tracks. Seeing her reaction, but not what prompted it, Elliot hurriedly rounds the corner, that little knife he's been using to cut pears in hand. He too freezes.
Hey, Gretchen. Elliot.
Having a guy who looks like the Unabomber suddenly appear in your living room is shocking enough. But when the Schwartzes realize who this is, their eyes go even wider. Walt is calm and relaxed. His hands never leave his pockets.
I like your new house.
Elliot slowly, protectively falls in beside his wife. They both stand in awe. It's like Dracula has materialized in their midst, and he's between them and the front door.
Walt?
Turning away, Walt appraises a wall of floor-to-ceiling windows which face out onto a pool patio.
Are we looking east? God, you must have one great view of the Sangre de Cristos.
What are you doing here?
I saw you and Charlie Rose. You looked good, both of you.
He's in no hurry to get to the point. Mr. and Mrs. Schwartz assume the worst. We sure shit do too.
Walt, if you're here to hurt us.
Actually, I'm here to give you something. It's in my car. How about the three of us take a walk to it? It's parked just a ways down the road. I couldn't get it past your gate.
No way they want to do that. Moving as if he's a sleepwalker, frightened Elliot comes in, eases in front of his wife, just a little. He slowly raises the knife. Walt is singularly unimpressed.
Well, if we're going to do that, going to go that way, you're going to need a bigger knife.
Flatly matter of fact. And by the way, there's no gun in evidence ever. For all we know, Walt doesn't even have one. Elliot considers, then lowers the knife. Off him, letting it clatter to the floor. Exterior mansion driveway night. 30 minutes later. This is a different view from the one we saw originally. This one includes the house. There's no one inside. But parked next to the Bentley, which hasn't moved, is the old white Volvo. Its trunk stands open. Over this in voiceover.
Keep sacking, it'll fit.
Interior mansion great room night. Close on a barrel's worth of cash. It completely covers the top of the fancy square coffee table. Gretchen and Elliot both stand here with arms completely full of banded cash. This is the last of who knows how many trips from the Volvo to the great room, and they are tired.
Yep, there you go.
Elliot is a bit more precise with his stacking. Gretchen, who's got more attitude, gives up at a certain point and just drops what's left in her arms. Some of it falls on the floor.
Get that, would you, Elliot? Let's not lose any under the furniture.
Elliot does as he's told. Walt surveys their handiwork.
All right. That is $9,720,000.
Where did you get it? And why is it here?
Walt looks to Gretchen, mildly offended by the first part of her question, surprised it would be a source of confusion.
I earned it. And if you're going to give it, to my children.
What? Why?
Walt, I don't know if
On my son's 18th birthday, just 10 months and 2 days from today, you will give him this money in the form of an irrevocable trust. You'll tell him it's his to do with as he sees fit, but with the hope he'll use it for his college education and for the education of his sister Holly. That and the general welfare and betterment of his family.
Gretchen looks to Elliot, who smiles nervously.
Walt, I'm not sure we're following you here. Why in a particular would we?
If you want to give your children drug money, go do it yourself.
I can't. My wife, my son, they hate me. They won't take my money. And even if they did, the federal government wouldn't let them. But two rich benefactors such as yourselves, two wonderful people who are known for their charitable endeavors, who think nothing, for instance, of writing a $28 million check to help victims of methamphetamine abuse, I'm going to think your money would be very welcome, like rain to the desert.
It wouldn't make any sense coming from us.
It certainly would. My children are blameless victims of their monstrous father, whom you used to know. Call it a beau geste, call it liberal guilt, call it what you want, but do it. And do not spend one dime of your money. If any taxes or lawyers' fees are owed, it comes out of this right here. You understand? They receive my money, never yours.
Elliot sends a telepathic message to his wife. Don't argue.
Okay, Walt, it sounds, I guess that sounds reasonable. So what happens next?
Well, I guess we shake on it and then I leave. Big day tomorrow. I've got to get ready for it.
What does that mean? Whatever, they just want him out of here. They shake his hand. First Elliot, then Gretchen.
Now, I can trust you to do this thing. Not just call the police once I'm gone.
Yes, you can. You absolutely can.
Walt eyes them closely, making sure. Satisfied, he nods. He turns to those floor-to-ceiling windows which look out onto the patio. He lifts one arm, gives a wave, a signal. Now out of the darkness, 2 red laser dots appear. They shine on Elliot and Gretchen, hovering over their hearts. The Schwartzes see this and freak. They back off, but...
Whoop, stop. Don't move. You don't want them thinking you're trying to get away.
It was bad enough when Gretchen and Elliot thought Walt was here alone. Paralyzed with fear, they do as they're told. Twin laser fireflies keep dancing over their torsos as...
This afternoon, I had an extra 200,000 I would have dearly loved to leave atop this table. Instead, I gave it to the 2 best hitmen west of the Mississippi. And whatever happens to me tomorrow, they'll still be out there, keeping tabs. If for any reason my children don't get this money, I've left you. Then a kind of countdown begins. And then maybe a day later, maybe a week, a year, who knows? You'll be walking down the street in Santa Fe or Manhattan or Prague, wherever, talking about your stock price, not a worry in the world. And you hear the scrape of a footstep behind you. And before you can even turn,
Mild, matter-of-fact Walt points 2 fingers, like a gun, at each of their temples.
pop, darkness.
The Schwartzes stand riveted. Again, Walt studies them closely. Another lesson taught, never to be forgotten. Walt turns to the window, gives another wave into the impenetrable night. One by one, the twin lasers blink off.
Cheer up, beautiful people. Here's where you get to make it right.
With that, he heads for the door, never once looking back. Off Gretchen and Elliot, left sick with anxiety. Exterior, lonesome Santa Fe Road, night. Deserted, middle of nowhere. Into this frame, the white Volvo pulls off to the shoulder. Its headlights flash. Off, on, off, on. As it sits idling, its white exhaust smoke glowing red in the brake lights, 2 dark figures emerge from the woods. They hurriedly pile into the Volvo's back seat. Interior Volvo sedan, old Volvo sedan, night, continuous. The men are dressed in black, head to toe. Walt, alone in the front seat, fishes in his jacket for 2 stacks of cash. He doesn't glance back at these 2 best hitmen west of the Mississippi, and now as they skin off their balaclavas, we understand why. It's Skinny Pete and Badger. Yay! We get to see them one last time. Without even looking, Walt holds a palm out, expecting something to be placed in it.
Oh, yeah, right.
2 laser pointers get handed over to Walt, one from each hitman. Since we won't necessarily recognize what these are, maybe Walt can trigger one, accidentally or otherwise, before he tucks them away in his pocket.
You know, I don't exactly know how I feel about this.
Yeah, me either, yo. The whole thing felt kind of shady, like mortally wise.
Unruffled, Walt hands them each $10,000.
How you feel now?
Skinny Pete glances from the money to Badger.
Better.
Definitely improved.
Walt is about to put the car in gear and drive them away, but he remembers something. He pauses.
What does I hear about Blue Myth still being out there?
What do you mean?
Have you heard that? Is it still being sold? By who?
Pete looks to Badger, both of them confused by the question.
It's you, right? I mean, aren't you still cooking?
The way Walt looks back at them tells them clearly he is not.
Damn. We were sure it was you, because that shit is choice. Better than ever. I mean, you know.
The gears are slowly turning in Walt's head. He comes to a realization which stuns him. No, it can't be.
Jesse?
Seriously? Thought you said he moved to Alaska.
So what I hear, right on, Jesse, passing the torch.
Walt isn't listening to these 2. From here on, everything they say is simply noise. He's pondering the possibility that Jesse is alive, and damn it, he's pissed. Off Walt, chunking the Volvo in gear and driving off, end Act 1. Act 2. Interior, woodworker shop day, close on a beautiful slab of exotic wood. We're talking something like blackheart, cocobolo, or rambutan, rare and gorgeous. It is held in a wooden shop vise. Into frame comes an old-fashioned carpenter's plane. A man's hands go to work with it, planing wonderful long curlicues. This image begins a short montage. Break out the macro lenses because most of the stuff is in close-up. The wood, now planed to perfection, gets cut with a handsaw. Pencil lines are followed with laser-like precision. The wood, now nice and square, gets worked with a chisel. Neat dovetails are cut. This artisan, whoever he is, sure knows what he's doing. He's a pleasure to watch. At this point, we may notice a familiar tattoo on the back of his right hand. A right angle dovetail locks together as satisfyingly as a Swiss bank vault door. The hands rub tongue oil onto the now assembled jewelry box. You do recognize that tattoo, don't you? Wider. It's Jesse. Gently closing the lid on the box, he appraises his work with deep satisfaction. He's smiling, happy. His face is unmarred by beatings, and he looks well fed. And we are confused because the last we saw him, he was living in Beelzebub's cinder block pit of hell. Nice shop he's got. It's not large or fancy, but it has every old school hand tool Roy Underhill would ever need. And it's peaceful. Smoky golden light streams in through wide open windows. This is the kind of a shop Bilbo Baggins would build for himself in the Shire. Michael, if we ever light strictly for beauty on our show, now is the time. It's like Jesse is in heaven, but sadly, he isn't. As he begins to walk away and his shop apron gets caught on the vice handle. Interior, Todd's meth lab night. Match cut to real Jesse getting pulled up short by the cable which is attached to his waist chain. That's right, Jesse only escaped in his mind. As we see him mildly tug at his cable to get it moving, we realize he's still in his little wood shop even now. Poor hollow-eyed Jesse. All alone here in the Quonset hut, he makes meth instead of ornate boxes. We watch as he puts on a mask and opens the cook vat, sifting aluminum foil, high and wide. Off Jesse the Myrmidon. His spirit apparently broken for good. Interior, Denny's restaurant, morning, previously shot. A Grand Slam breakfast fills the frame. Hands finish rearranging the bacon into the number 52. A cute young waitress at the counter notices, gives a puzzled smile. Angel.
Angelina.
What happened there?
Walt glances up from his handiwork.
It's my birthday.
Wow, happy birthday.
This is, of course, our existing footage, which opened episode 501. Welcome, finally, to where we began season 5. Off Walt, staring up at the waitress. Exterior, Denny's parking lot, morning, previously shot. Angle on a brownish gold trunk lid being raised, revealing an M60 machine gun and several boxes of tracer ammo. Walt spends a moment assessing it, then chucks his familiar overnight bag in. He slams the trunk, cut to black. Interior, White House, master bedroom, morning. Oh, White House, because his last name is White. That took a minute. Okay. Close on fingers using a coin as a screwdriver with which they remove the cover plate from an electrical outlet. Inside the plate, there's that tiny little vial of ricin. Walt pulls it loose and pockets it. This is from 509. Interior, White House, living room, morning. Please note that this is not previously shot footage. Yes, it would have been nice if we'd gotten this during 509. Sorry, we writers couldn't think that far ahead. This is so freaking meta. I love it. Okay. However, here we are in that same living room, devoid of furniture and looking like a crack house. The wall which held the cupboard has Heisenberg scrawled across it. Walt rounds into view from the back of the house. He pads through the sad, darkened living room, intending to leave. But as he approaches the front door, he pauses. He remains here a moment, remembering. And as he does, we cut to a quick flash of the past. In it, Walt's position is a match to where he stands now in the present. Interior, White House, living room day, previously shot. This is footage from the pilot. It's Walt's 50th birthday party, precisely 2 years to the day. Partygoers are gathered around the TV watching a local news report about a DEA bust. Skylar, Jr., and Marie are here. And of course, there's Hank, alive and well. He's the party's undisputed center of attention.
Walt, just say the word and I'll take you on a ride along. You can watch us knock down a lab. Get a little excitement in your life.
Walt Jr. nods. You should go. Innocent 50-year-old Walt shrugs sheepishly. Interior, White House, living room, morning. Back to the present. For haunted 52-year-old Walt, this recollection cuts deep. However, he doesn't have time to wallow. He's a man on a mission. He feels in his pocket for that ricin, the thing he came for. Yep, still there. He steps out through the pried open front door. This will be his last visit ever to the old homestead, and he knows it. We can tell by the gentle way he closes the door behind him. Office image, our frame going dark. Interior, Grove Restaurant, morning. This is that upscale casual lunch spot familiar to us from many clandestine meets. It's a favorite of Lydia's. And here she comes now. We follow low behind her drop bag as she carries it at her side. It brings us to her favorite table, the one we'll remember from episode 508. Lydia sets the bag on the floor beside her, taking her seat at this little two-top. At this hour, the restaurant is only about an eighth full. A waiter stops by.
Hi, welcome to the Grove. Would you like to see a menu?
No, thank you. Chamomile tea with soy milk, please.
Hey, you got it.
The waiter goes about his business. Lydia, her eyes on the door, idly plays with a sugar bowl that's on the table. Along with a half dozen packets of real sugar, there's one lone packet of stevia. Lydia absently toys with it. And now, just to point it out, there's a customer in the background sitting alone at a far table. His back is to us, and he's a bit out of focus. If you look real hard, you may recognize who this is. Lydia isn't remotely focused on this person regardless. She's looking instead to Todd, who enters the restaurant and beelines her way. It's likely Todd's been told to play it cool when he comes to meet Lydia for these money drops. Still, he can't help but smile as he takes his seat. The heart wants what it wants.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
How's things? Hey, I like your
My blouse.
It's nice, yeah. The color, it's a nice color on you.
Lydia gives him the barest of thank you nods while under the table she slides the drop bag toward him with her toe. Simultaneously, that out of focus customer behind Lydia rises and heads her way. It's Walt.
That's kind of a I don't know exactly what you'd call it, but it's kind of a cornflower.
Before Todd and Lydia even know he's there, Walt has pulled up a chair and taken a seat at their table. Confused, Lydia starts to say something, but stops herself when she realizes who this is. Holy crap. She's shocked. Todd is too. Walt barely glances at them. His eyes scan the door and the other customers. Unlike the alpha persona he displayed in Act 1, now he seems nervous and uncomfortable. Is he playing a role here? He speaks under his breath.
Before you say or do anything, just hear me out.
What? Todd?
No one knows I'm here. Nobody. Just listen to me for 2 minutes and then I'll leave.
Oh, fuck this. Freaked out, Lydia starts to rise, but Walt presses a hand to her forearm, stopping her.
Please, 2 minutes of your time. You're running low on methylamine, aren't you?
Todd looks to Lydia, who doesn't like this at all. Walt knows he's got to give them the sales pitch of a lifetime, and he's got to do it fast.
Don't answer. You don't have to. I can do the math. You've been at it long enough that you must be running low. I've got a new method. It doesn't require methylamine. It doesn't require pseudo. It requires no Schedule 1 precursors whatsoever. It's cheap and it's easy and will keep you in the business. And Todd, I can teach it to you.
Todd looks to Lydia, wary as hell. In the past, he's liked and respected Mr. White and all, but this is just weird. However, Lydia seems to be listening now. Her expression is guarded to be sure, but she keeps her seat.
How did you know to find us here?
10 in the morning every Tuesday. This is where you and I met. You're very schedule oriented. I guess, look,
Excuse me. With that, he erupts in a fit of coughing. Todd and Lydia sit here self-consciously, anxious for it to pass. Soon it does. Walt wipes his mouth on his sleeve.
I need the money. I spent most of mine staying one step ahead of the police. I don't have long, and I don't have long.
Mr. White, I don't think
Todd is already shaking his head, about to say no deal when...
How much would it cost us?
Walt sits up a bit straighter in his seat, driving what he seems to consider a hard bargain.
Nothing less than $1 million. And believe me, for this, that's giving it away.
Lydia considers, looks to Todd.
I think Jack should hear this.
yeah, I don't know.
Walt nods, very much in agreement with Lydia.
I can come by tonight, talk to him. I think he'll get it. He's still got that place.
Todd hesitates, but Lydia nods yes. Walt is appreciative.
Guys, this is a win-win.
Here comes the waiter, bringing Lydia her chamomile tea. That's Clint unless Absakar's taking it.
All right, what can I get you too?
Oh,
I'm good.
And he's leaving. Good seeing you again. Take care.
Walt gets the message, rises to go. He got what he came for. Before the waiter can depart, Lydia holds up that one stevia packet for him to see, adding,
And I need more stevia, please.
the waiter goes to get it. Walt crosses the restaurant and walks out the front door without looking back. Todd watches him exit, no more comfortable than before.
No disrespect to the man, but doing business with him right now? That's not.
Of course, we're not doing business with him. Todd, please don't make me walk you through this. He is way too dangerous to have around.
Todd's no dummy. He gets it. It's just that even Todd doesn't jump to the idea of murder quite as quickly as Lydia.
I guess it's just.
He shrugs. I don't know. Lydia taps her stevia with one finger, getting it to fall to the bottom of the packet.
Jesus, did you look at him? You'll be doing him a favor.
With that, she tears open the packet and pours it in her tea. Macro close bird's eye of the teacup. Tiny white crystals cloud bloom into the pale liquid. Stirred by the spoon, they rotate like a tiny lazy tornado. Off this and us wondering why we're looking so closely at it, although you can guess, can't you? We end Act 2. Act 3, exterior Badlands afternoon. We're out on the prairie of the desert or some such. He loves that word some such, doesn't it? It's like such like. Maybe this is a great location we visited before, or maybe it's someplace strikingly new. Regardless, no one's around for miles. No one except, what's that shining way in the distance? It's a car, parked all by itself, and next to it, a tiny figure. Over this, we hear someone humming a tune. It's a bit unfocused and meandering, but we recognize El Paso when we hear it. This humming continues as we cut closer. At this point, we can make out the familiar gold Cadillac. Its trunk stands open, as does its hood. Walt, all alone out here, is working beside it. On what, we can't tell. Close on the M60 machine gun. It's on the ground behind the caddy, resting on its bipod. Beside it is a photocopied instruction manual, pages rifling in the breeze. Other items are here too. We see lengths of slotted angle iron, boxes of nuts and bolts and washers, a tape measure and a hacksaw with a blade for cutting metal, a Milwaukee cordless drill, hand tools, wire spools, etc., etc. Here are bags from Home Depot and Pep Boys, or Lowe's and Advance Auto Parts, whatever we can clear. There are discarded boxes and packaging, quite a shopping trip. Prominent among these items is a box for a garage door motor. Another package formerly contained an aftermarket keyless entry kit, complete with remote key fob. Mad scientist Walt squats on the ground beside his car, absently continuing to hum El Paso while he fine-tunes his creation. What the hell is he built over there? We get a closer look. It's a framework of angle iron held together with nuts and bolts and putty epoxy. The garage door motor is attached to it somehow, as is a solenoid or two from the door lock kit. The whole thing is maybe 2.5 feet long, but what does it do? Ready to test it, Walt rises to his feet, cracks his aching back. He clamps the black and red leads of a jumper cable to the Cadillac's battery. Here goes nothing. Walt holds up the aftermarket key fob, presses the panic button. Over on his handiwork, a solenoid pops with a click while the garage door motor begins turning, sweeping the metal framework back and forth, back and forth. Honestly, you've probably already guessed what this M60 machine gun-sized contraption is for, but then guessing is half the fun. At any rate, Walt is pleased. Success. He turns it off and squats back down, adjusting something. As he bends over, his wedding ring slips out of his collar, dangling from the newspaper twine necklace, which we established in 515 and which Walt has worn ever since. Walt reaches for the ring, gently whirring it in his fingers. This acts as a reminder, not that he needs one. There's one last stop he needs to make before the grand finale. Off Walt, tucking the ring back in his shirt and continuing his work, we pre-lap the ring of a telephone. Interior shabby apartment afternoon, a phone is ringing as we move through the living room of a cramped little apartment. We recognize most of these furnishings. We've grown accustomed to seeing them in the White House for 5 seasons. Remember those god-awful pastel family portraits which used to hang in the White House, a hallway opposite the kitchen? Well, here they are, minus the portrait of Walt. We realize this is now home for what remains of the White family. It is a 2-bedroom that probably rents for $750 a month. And though from it we get the sense that Skylar is trying her best, there's something shabby and sad about this place. It's very Alice doesn't live here anymore. We drift towards that ringing phone. It's atop a little kitchen table at which sits Skylar. Skylar stares at the caller ID, which says Marie. Sky makes no move to answer the phone. Instead, she smokes a cigarette. These last 6 months have been hell on her. She's hollow-eyed, used up. Her machine picks up. No more cheery, personalized, outgoing message. This is one of those creepy, generic robot voices. Hello, we can't come to the phone right now. Please leave a brief message at the sound of the beep. Beep.
Hey, it's me. Truth. Skylar, we have I have some news about Walt, and you need to hear it immediately. So if you're there, pick up.
Sounds urgent. Inscrutable Skylar blows a jet of smoke and then does as she's told.
What's up?
Intercut with interior Schrader house afternoon continuous. Marie paces in her kitchen, her cordless to her ear. She too has changed since we saw her. Maybe more than Skylar. Her hair is pulled up tight. That brittle way she had about her is gone. You're no longer brittle once you're broken. Most striking about Widow Marie is her clothing. It's all over shades of ivory and beige. Absolutely no purple whatsoever.
He's in town.
Yeah.
Right here. Jesus. First off, that car that they thought he stole in New Hampshire, they found it in a Denny's parking lot on Central, right across from UNM.
Sky is silent, which doesn't surprise Marie. She's pretty friggin' stunned herself, truth be told.
Then your old next door neighbor, the one on the right, what's her name, Becky?
Yeah, Becky's on the left. Carol's on the right.
Carol, Becky, whatever. She saw him at your old house just this morning, plain as day. He's there walking out of your house and he calls her by name.
Did he hurt her or threaten her?
No. Hey, Carol, or Becky, or whatever. Then he drove off, not a care in the world. And she said he looked like the Unabomber, but she's positive it was him. Skylar, you've been talking to Rami, and I shouldn't be sharing this because you're still. Yeah. Hey, you know what? DEA, if you're listening, she needs to be warned. She's not a part of this. Skylar, they're getting the phone calls all over town saying he's here. He's there. He's going to bomb the city hall, saying he's got some manifesto and he wants to go on the 6 o'clock news. And it's just.
Who's making these calls? Him?
Not all of them. It's at least 2 or 3 different voices. They don't know whether it's crank calls or people he put up to it or whether it's actually anonymous tips. They got to take it all seriously, and it's stretching them thin, which maybe is the point as far as I'm concerned. And I told them this. There's only 3 places he could be headed: to you, me, or Flynn.
Right.
Marie peers. Oh, sorry. Vicky, did you do your? I couldn't hear it if she did her right.
Yep.
She did.
Okay. Marie peers out her kitchen window. Reminiscent of episodes 412 and 413, we glimpse 2 DEA agents on guard out there.
They're watching the high school, and I'm sure they're watching your place. I mean, I know what Hank would do. So there's no way Walt's getting to you. They're absolutely going to catch him. No doubt about it. That arrogant asshole thinks he's some criminal mastermind, but he's not. But just on the off chance.
Yeah.
On the 1,000,000 to 1 chance. You be on the lookout, okay?
Yeah, I will.
Both women are silent for a moment. Marie expects more from her sister. Some thanks, perhaps. More expression of concern. Boy, it seems these two have had their issues. Their relationship is so damaged it may never be repaired. Finally, Marie continues, a bit clipped and curt.
All right. Guess that's it. You gonna call Flynn or should I?
I'll talk to him. Thanks.
You got it.
Click. Marie hangs up. Off her, staring into space. Skylar hangs up as well. She stubs out her butt and lights another cigarette. She, like her sister, stares into space. Except, not really. She's not simply staring into space. We soon realize she's staring at someone off screen.
5 minutes?
Reveal Walt. He's been here this entire time. He stands in the apartment's tiny kitchen, hidden from our initial view by a dividing wall or some such. He nods.
Roger. 5 minutes.
Walt studies his wife, expression gentle. For her part, Skylar is certainly intimidated by this now legendary criminal. Perhaps that's why she's not fighting or running and why she didn't try to tip off her sister just now. Or maybe it's because Skylar wants to hear what Walt has to say to her. There's no love left on her part. But he remains the father of her children. And besides, she's curious. Who wouldn't be?
You didn't kill anyone sneaking in here, did you?
Walt shakes his head. He didn't.
You didn't hurt anybody?
Didn't have to.
You look terrible.
Yeah, but I feel good.
Skylar blows smoke. Seeing him drinking her in, not in a sexual way, just he missed her, she shrugs.
So talk, huh? Why are you here?
It's over, and I need a proper goodbye. Not our last phone call.
You're going to the police?
They'll be coming to me.
She misunderstands and she's concerned.
Walt, if you're in custody, what's to stop those people from coming back? The people you worked with? When I still had the house, 3 men came in the middle of the night wearing masks, threatening Flynn and Holly and me, telling me not to talk about the woman I saw at the car wash. And once you're in custody and they know it.
They're not coming back. Not after tonight.
What's tonight?
Walt doesn't answer. Instead, he pulls out his wallet.
We don't want your money, Walt. I thought Flynn made that clear.
He did. And I don't have any to give to you. I spent the last of it getting here. All I have for you is this.
He offers her a familiar lottery ticket, wrinkled and worn from the many months it has spent in his billfold. Skylar warily takes it from his outstretched hand, frowns at it.
This is a joke.
Nope, far from it.
Once I leave, call the DEA. Tell them I was here, that I forced my way in. Tell them I wanted bacon and eggs on my birthday and to see my daughter, and that I gave you that ticket. The numbers are GPS coordinates.
For what?
A burial site. That's where they'll find Hank and Steve Gomez.
Skylar stares at the ticket and her eyes moistened. After all this time, she didn't know she had any tears left in her.
It's where I buried our money, the men who stole it, the men who have it now. They murdered Hank and Steve. They put them in that hole. Trade that for a deal with the prosecutor. Get yourself out of this.
Skylar wipes away silent tears, then stares up at Walt again. Her anger at him is renewed, relit. Walt accepts it, doesn't argue. It's not that Skylar thinks Walt murdered Hank and Gomez, but what's the use in splitting hairs? If Walt hadn't transformed himself into Heisenberg, none of this would have happened. They'd still be a family. Hank would be alive.
Skylar, all these things I did, you need to understand why I did them.
Oh, God. If you say one more time how you did it all for the family.
I did it for me.
Skylar is caught off guard by this quiet, sudden candor.
I liked it. I was good at it. I was alive.
This is real self-knowledge. It is clarity born of Walt's many months spent alone, and he is at peace with it. In some tiny, grudging way, Skylar appreciates the honesty. It changes nothing, but at least it shows respect.
Well, Flynn will be home soon. You don't want him finding you here.
Sadly, Walt knows she's right. And yet...
Before I go, may I see her? Please?
Off Skylar. Interior, shabby apartment, back bedroom, afternoon. Close on Holly, fast asleep. Not much sense in calling her baby Holly anymore, as she's 6 months older than when we last saw her. Walt stares down at his child, memorizing her, silently saying goodbye. He gently strokes her back, not wanting to wake her. This is bittersweet, to be sure, but it's not nearly as wrenching as Walt's last glimpse of Holly back in episode 514. This is a proper farewell. Skylar stands beside Walt. This is her bedroom, which she shares with Holly. The bed, nightstands, etc. are all from the old White House. They take up most of the small room. Nothing left to say. It's time for Walt to leave, and he knows it. With a lingering look to Skylar, he walks out the door and is gone. Off Skylar, considering the lottery ticket in her hand. Exterior apartment building, afternoon. The bland low rent outside of this place matches the inside. Parked inconspicuously on the suburban street is an ND sedan with 2 men sitting inside it, undercover DE agents. They are surreptitiously watching a school bus, 1/4 full of kids. It drives into frame and pulls to a stop. Walter Jr. gets off. Backpack over his shoulder, he looks like he's carrying the weight of the world. He makes his way towards the apartment. We reveal Walt watching him from a distance. Walt has concealed himself behind the apartment complex's laundry building. His gold caddy is nowhere in sight. With the DEA out here looking for public enemy number 1, Walt has to be extraordinarily careful. Regardless, one last glimpse of his son is worth any risk. Walt watches him the entire way until Junior enters his apartment. Then Walt buries his hands a little deeper into his coat pockets and turns to go. Off heavy-hearted Walt, shuffling away from us, out of sight, end Act 3. Act 4. Exterior, Jack's compound, main gate, night. Close on, heavy chain held together by a fat padlock. In background behind this, headlights appear, growing larger. They come to stop only a few feet away, blinding us. Wider, the gold Cadillac idles before the entrance to Jack's compound. The chain link gate is a little island of light due to 2 sodium lamps which frame it. Otherwise, it's dark and lonely out here. Interior, gold Cadillac, night. Walt is behind the wheel. He's all alone, no backup, and there's no sign of that M60. Like an anxious performer waiting in the wings, he takes a deep breath, holds it, and slowly lets it out. Here we go, showtime. He gives a short honk. After a few moments, 2 figures emerge from the darkness on the other side of the fence. They take their time. One guy unlocks the gate and swings it open. The other guy, Kenny, wanders to the passenger side of the idling caddy. Walt rolls down the window for him. He sticks his head inside, resting his forearms on the door.
Dang, man, this thing's a classic. What block you got in it? The 500 or the 425?
Couldn't tell you.
Kenny nods, checking out the back seat. Nobody hiding back there. He's acting casual, friendly even, but what he's really doing is giving the interior a once-over.
500. That's the one you want. There's no replacement for displacement.
Kenny pulls the door handle, climbs in the passenger seat.
Where to?
Clubhouse.
He points. Walt clunks the caddy into gear and drives. Exterior, Jack's compound, main gate continuous. The car motors through the gate. Once it passes, the gang member they left behind closes the gate and relocks it. Interior, gold Cadillac, driving night. We're in the back seat, looking past Walt and Kenny. Walt drives slowly. No funny stuff. The clubhouse building grows larger in the windshield.
Just park in front.
Walt does as he's told, except that he lazily loops the car 90 degrees to the left.
Straight in, man. Just fine. Here, whatever.
The Cadillac pulls to a stop, its passenger side parallel to the front of the clubhouse. Walt puts the car in park, close on the ignition key, and from it dangles a familiar remote key fob, gently swinging back and forth. Walt cuts the engine and pulls the keys, taking them. Exterior, Jack's compound, clubhouse continuous. Pocketing his keys, Walt climbs out and heads for the building. However, 2 familiar gang members, Frankie and Lester, intercept him near the car.
Hey, how you doing? Turn around and put your arms out like this.
Walt glances around at these big guys, then complies. Frankie pats him down thoroughly. No guns, knives, or atom bombs. All he comes up with are Walt's wallet and keys.
While you're at it, pull your shirt up. Give us a spin.
Give you a spin? For Christ's sake, I'm not wearing a wire.
Kenny shrugs. Hey, I'm asking nice. Walt sighs, then does it. He shows off his white belly and back, sans wire. The gang guys are satisfied. Walt tucks his shirt back in his waistband and holds out a hand.
My wallet and the keys?
You'll get him back. Just relax.
Oh, shit. Walt needs that key fob, and you can guess why. But he plays it cool. He's got no choice. That gang guy who was in charge of locking the gate is just now arriving on foot. Kenny nods to him.
Stay here. Keep your eyes open.
The guy nods. Kenny ushers Walt towards the clubhouse. Interior, Jack's clubhouse night. In walks Walt, followed by Kenny, Frankie, and Lester. Here, Walt.
Yeah, that's a lot of reading.
Oh, now I have acid reflux for some reason, and it's like, sorry. Yep. Walt comes face to face with Uncle Jack. Todd's here too. He's looking a bit uncomfortable. Rounding out the group is Matt, stone-faced and intimidating.
Jesus, look at you with that head of hair. Is that real?
Yeah.
It's not a wig. Seriously. So what were you doing before? Shaving it?
Yeah.
Christ, that's one fine head of hair. I mean, otherwise, you look like shit, but still.
Well, to you too, Jack.
Frankie idly tosses Walt's wallet and keys, close on the key fob as it lands with a jingle atop the pool table. Walt suddenly clocks this. It's beyond his reach and guarded. Also, he can't help but note how he's surrounded by these fuckers. Except for Todd, who backs up a little.
You gonna talk business?
A beat. Jack glances to his nephew, then shakes his head.
I don't think so. No.
Did Todd tell you what I'm offering?
Yeah, he told me. Thing is, not really in the market.
Jack shrugs. Sorry. Walt's pulse quickens. This isn't going quite like he'd hoped. Selling a little harder now.
You're running out of methylamine. What happens then?
We get more. That's Quayen's woman got her own setup. She can break loose a barrel every now and again. It ain't broke, so why fix it?
Todd, explain things to your uncle, please. Explain to him the benefit of what I'm offering.
You really shouldn't have come back, Mr. White. Sorry.
Todd says this sheepishly. He's not enthusiastic about killing Walt, but it doesn't mean he won't go along with it. Jack nods to Kenny. Let's get this over with. Kenny pulls a pistol and presses it to Walt's head. Walt cringes.
Jack?
Where do you want it?
Gee, I don't know. Anywhere but the living room. Take him out back.
A couple of guys grab Walt, working to hustle him out of here. Walt struggles with them, his fear flashing to anger.
You owe me, Jack!
I owe you? For what?
For everything. Everything I built. For Jesse Pinkman. You swore you'd kill him. Instead, you partner up, you partner with him.
Whoa. What? Stop. Hold him still. Stop. Partners? What are you talking about?
He's alive, isn't he? He's cooking for you. What? You're going to lie? You're going to die?
Him being alive is not him and me being partners. But by damn sight, what you think I'd partner with a rat? Is there where is that little piece of shit?
Finishing up a batch?
Go get him. Bring him here.
Uncle Jack.
No. This one here, calling me a liar? He just insulted me. Or he just insulted you, me, all of us. I'm gonna show you how wrong you are. Then I'm gonna put a bullet in your head myself. Partners? Jesus.
Todd looks to Kenny, who shrugs. Just do it. Todd starts out the door. Jack yells after him.
Hustle! Come on! Let's get this over with. Here, gimme.
Kenny hands over his pistol to Jack, who points it at Walt, tapping his forehead with it and backing him up.
Stupid. You hear me, huh? How could you even say that to me?
Walt stumbles back a step or two, winds up braced against the pool table. Jack squints at him with contempt.
Can't believe we all felt sorry for you.
And there they are, those card keys, resting atop the green felt of the pool table where Frankie dropped them. Perfect. Without looking, Walt smoothly slides his hand towards them, close on his fingers, brushing the remote control key fob. Off lucky Walt, almost back in control, albeit secretly. Exterior Jack's compound night, wide, silhouetted by the sodium lights, two distant figures cross the compound, the first one hustling the second along by the elbow. The second figure shuffles as fast as he can, wrist and ankle restraints jingling. Interior, Jack's clubhouse, night. Close on Walt's hand, closing around the key fob, grasping it, taking it. Neither Jack nor his guys notice. The front door opens. Walt raises his eyes, looking to get his final glimpse of archenemy Jesse. With Jesse and Todd back inside the kill zone, all will be right with the world. Walt can press that button, and his revenge will be complete. Here comes Todd, and here out of silhouette comes Jesse. Walt blinks, surprised. All those chains, all those scars, that utterly lifeless, broken stare. Walt sees Jesse for what he is, a zombie, and Walt doesn't know what to make of it. He doesn't know how to feel.
You see what I'm talking about, you son of a bitch?
Jesse's gaze rises from the floor. He and Walt lock eyes. There's recognition here, but if Jesse is feeling any particular emotion in this moment, we can't read it. So much has been robbed and beaten out of him.
This look like a partner to you?
Walt stares and keeps staring. Up until 15 seconds ago, he knew what he wanted to do to Jesse. He wanted to obliterate him, but now, he dives at Jesse, tackling him, knocking him to the floor. Walt lands on top of him. In that first instant, it simply looks like an angry attack.
Oh, man. Toddy, get him off.
But close on Walt's thumb as it presses that panic button, the entire room erupts in machine gun fire. Red tracers rip through the walls like phaser beams right out of Star Trek, cutting through Jack's gang like hot knives through butter. Todd, who had knelt to separate Walt and Jesse, just misses getting shot. With everything exploding around him, he hits the deck terrified. He covers his head. Exterior, Jack's compound, clubhouse, continuous. Tracers spew from the side of the old Cadillac's trunk, mechanically sweeping back and forth and killing the gang member who's out there on guard duty. Maybe killing isn't the right word, splattering more like. The trunk lid has popped open, revealing what's going on inside. That big M60 has been placed in here sideways and mounted atop the rig Walt built. It rattles away, sweeping back and forth like Satan's windshield wiper. Scores of hot shell casings scatter hither and yon. Bullets shatter the clubhouse windows and perforate the walls, raking left to right to left to right. Yes, I realize I read that backwards. Interior, Jack's clubhouse continuous. Gang members drop like flies. Bullets whiz at a height of 3 feet and punch through everything in their path. The room gets shot to ribbons. It's absolute chaos. Walt is on his hands and knees covering Jesse, keeping him safe on the floor. During this, a quick cut of Walt's face. He flinches like he's been nailed with the pointy end of a fireplace poker. Uh-oh. He drops flat on his stomach. Even after everyone is shot dead or dying, the firing still continues for the full 250 rounds. The mayhem goes on for half a minute or more until finally the M60 runs itself dry. Now, silence. Bird's eye view. Walt painfully rolls off Jesse, both of them side by side and flat on their backs. All around them, bodies are sprawled. The floor is awash in blood and glass. He lies lying on his belly a couple yards away. Jack suddenly jerks as if he's awakening. He begins to agonizingly crawl out of frame, making like a snail for the back door. He leaves a long, thick smear of blood behind him. Close on Jesse, he raises his head, blinking, glancing around. It's as if a fog is lifting. Elsewhere, Todd is shell-shocked, but otherwise unharmed. Breathing hard, he carefully raises his head. He has no idea what the hell just happened or who's behind it. For all he knows, the U.S. Marines just landed. Focused strictly on the danger outside, Todd crawls on his belly to the nearest shot-out window. Venetian blinds hang in tatters, but still afford a bit of privacy. Rising to his knees, Todd peeks out a lower corner of the window. Exterior, Jack's compound continuous. Todd's POV glimpsed through broken glass. The Cadillac gently rocks where it's parked, the M60 still oscillating away. The rear quarter panel is neatly shot out where the bullets tore through it. Flames lick out of the hole. I'm not shocked, I just had to burp. Interior, Jack's clubhouse continuous, close on Todd. His jaw goes slack as he puts two and two together. He doesn't take his eyes off that car.
Jesus, Mr. White, what?
Just then, a chain flashes over Todd's head, looping around his throat. It's Jesse, wrist still cuffs, and he's choking the life out of Todd. Todd stumbles backward, struggling to throw Jesse off, but Jesse, eyes bright and filled with rage, hangs on like a demon. Soon they both tumble to the floor. The sound Todd makes are awful. He's getting weaker. Jesse strains harder, pulls tighter, doesn't stop. Close on Jack's dropped pistol lying on the floor. A hand reaches into frame, picks it up. Walt rises into view, gun in hand. With a wince, he touches the other hand to his side. He's hurting, but we don't yet see why. Screw it. He's got business to attend to. There's that snail trail of blood. Walt follows it to where he finds Jack half hidden behind the ruined bar. Jack is trying to open the back door to escape, but the doorknob is so slicked with blood he can't manage to turn it. Walt towers over Jack, coldly taking aim. Jack focuses on him, slowly raising his hands. Breathing fast and shallow, he manages a faint smirk.
Oh, come on. Oh,
He's in. He's out.
before
He's on
you
again.
do that, want your money, right? Want to know where it is? You pull that trigger and you will never find a single dollar.
Blam.
Bam, bam, bam.
Walt summarily puts one through his head. We can hear the empty casing bounce and clink on the floor. Done thinking about that asshole, Walt lets the pistol dangle at his side. He turns and looks back at Jesse, who is just now finishing strangling Todd. Close. Jesse extricates himself from dead staring Todd. He rifles through Todd's pockets, finds his keyring. On it is the key to Todd's El Camino, also a handcuff key. Jesse rises to his feet, hurriedly goes to work, unlocking himself. Close on his wrist, ankle, and waist chains all hitting the floor with a jingling, satisfying thud. Free now, he turns to find Walt staring at him, gun in hand, though not pointed. Jesse stands his ground, unafraid but expecting the worst. Neither of them moves, until finally, after a long silence, Walt bends down and slides the pistol across the floor. It arrives at Jesse's feet. Huh? Jesse considers the pistol, picks it up. At about this time, we hear the muffled ring of a cell phone. Walt and Jesse glance down at dead Todd. It's his. It rings 3 or 4 times, then stops. Walt and Jesse ignore it, preoccupied by one another. Jesse slowly raises the pistol, takes aim at Walt's heart. Walt gives a nod.
Do it. You want this? Do it.
Jesse is about to, but there's something in the way Walt says this, so calm and accepting. Jesse looks from Walt's face to his abdomen. Jesse's POV. Blood seeps into view beneath Walter's jacket. Soaking through the side of his shirt, let's put him in something light colored so that we really see it. Walt's been shot. He doesn't have long. That unseen phone starts ringing again. Jesse considers Walt.
Say the words. Say you want this. Nothing happens till I hear you say it.
I want this.
Jesse figured as much. He lets the gun clatter to the floor.
Then do it yourself.
With that, he turns and walks out the door. Walt stares after him. That damn cell phone starts ringing again. Walt takes a few steps towards dead Todd and the gun. Is Walt going to pick up the pistol? No. Instead, he fishes the ringing phone out from Todd's jacket. And perhaps Thomas Gullabook, the ringtone of all these calls, is a snatch of that old song, Lydia the Tattooed Lady. This will help explain why Walt would bother answering it. Off Walt, studying the phone's caller ID. Interior, Lydia's house, master bedroom, night. Lydia lies in bed looking terrible. She's pale and her eyes are sunken. It looks like she's got the world's worst flu. Yet she's somehow been driven to know what the hell is going on. We see very little of this bedroom, by the way. One corner of a 2-walled set would be plenty. We just want to give the impression of Lydia's house without actually seeing it. Lydia has her drop phone pressed to her ear, listening to the ringing coming from the other end, grumbling to herself.
God damn it. Pick up the phone. Pick up.
Hello?
Is it done? Is he gone?
Yeah, it's done. He's gone. They're all gone.
Lydia frowns. Wait a minute, whose voice is that?
Todd? Is this... Who is this?
I think I just figured something out. Exterior, Jack's compound, clubhouse continuous. Walt now stands outside the clubhouse, having relocated here during the previous scene. Todd's phone to his ear, Walt talks to Lydia while he watches Jesse. Jesse unlocks Todd's El Camino and climbs inside.
It's Walt. How you feeling? Kind of under the weather? Like you've got the flu? That's the ricin I gave you. I hid in the stevia crap you're always putting in your tea.
What?
Lydia's eyes go wider still. Oh, shit.
Goodbye, Lydia.
With that, he carelessly tosses the phone away. Off Lydia is left stunned and alone and dying. Here at the compound, we hear distant sirens. The El Camino fires up with a roar. Walt walks to it. He and Jesse share one last long look. Then Jesse chunks the car into gear and punches it. The El Camino goes squealing away into the night. Walt stands here watching it go. Interior El Camino driving night. As seen from behind, from a camera mounted in the truck bed, Jesse speeds us towards the chained and locked gate. Bam, we smash through it like it was nothing. We leave the compound behind. Close angle Jesse. Grimly determined, fearing nothing, he speeds through the darkness. From here on, it's up to us to say where he's headed. I like to call it something better and leave it at that. Exterior Jack's compound night. Walt is all alone. The sirens are gradually getting louder, but he still has time to make his escape. However, he doesn't bother. This is it. It's finally over. Realizing where he'd like it all to end, Walt wanders towards the distant Quonset hut. His pace remains unhurried. Interior Todd's meth lab night. Close on the cookvat of our familiar meth lab. A hand comes into frame, touching it, patting it with affection. Wider, Walt is back where he belongs. He's back with his true love. Jesse left in the middle of a cook, so Walt continues it. He taps at gauges, he checks temperatures. The sirens are deafening now. As seen through the open door of the Quonset hut, 5 APD police cars come ripping through the frame, lights flashing into view, then out again. The cops don't know Walt's in here, but though we can't see them any longer, they are continuing on to the clubhouse. We stay right here with Walt. He's at peace. The cook is going well. He taught Jesse well. All is as it should be. Once more, close on the cookvat, Walt's hand rests against it like a cowboy's hand rests on the neck of his horse. And now the hand relaxes and slowly slips down out of frame. It leaves behind a small smear of blood. Bird's eye view, we look straight down on Walt as he tumbles into frame, lying flat on his back on the floor. His eyes stare up at us lifeless, and yet his final expression is one of faint satisfaction. We slowly crane up and away from him. Walt shrinks smaller and smaller in frame. Police officers approach him now, 4, 6, 8 of them. They move in cautiously, their guns aimed. They're too late. He got away. We continue skyward, looking down on Walt, rising as high as we can go. Off this image, slowly fading to black, end series.
Wow. That was the Petra show. That was the audio.
God, what was the other one that
Petra.
Thank you.
Kudos,
What was the
Selma.
other one that we did that was so friggin' long and all I was doing was action descriptions like I
Wow.
stopped reading. I was like, I couldn't breathe. It was so much.
You're
Yeah.
good at them. You really are.
Very, very good.
Yeah, Petra was
Um,
excellent.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
so-
I feel like I was actioned and described.
Great job, Petra. Great job, everyone. We're going to go around and everyone say a little bit more about who they are, where people can find them, what they do, and then we'll take a short intermission so Petra can get some more water, and then we'll come back and talk about that last episode of that last season of that show. So, going around, Morgan Toll.
Hey, I am Morgan Toll. I am a Los Angeles-based actor and voice actor, and also the talent partnership executive at Streamily.com, where we do Q&As and autograph signings for celebrities. You can find me on Instagram at Morgan Elizabeth Toll.
All right, that's very cool. And Vicky.
Hi, I'm Vicky Dykes. As I said, I'm from Central Alberta. I'm an actress here. You can find me on Instagram. I'm YogaGramma7, and I'm also on Facebook under the name Vicky Dykes.
Sweet. And Petra.
Hello, Petra Sedman, actress, writer, trivia nut. So yeah, this is interesting. If you want to find me for whatever, still findable on Twitter, as long as that's a thing. At Petra Sedman, and then on Instagram, where I've been posting little trivia nuggets. I am Petrapedia42. Hello. Feel free to come find me if you need me.
Cool, cool. Hope they do. And we have Aaron.
Hey, y'all. I'm a voice actor. I'm Erin Lillis. You can find me at Ravie13. That's RAVIE13 on Instagram and Twitter. And Scarin Lillis on TikTok.
Awesome. And we have a new reader joining us. I apologize if I said the name wrong. Please correct me. Abiskar? How did
Yeah, you're totally right. It's Aviskar. I'm Aviskar, and I'm from Nepal. And I'm 16 years old, a high school junior. Just wanna practice some writing. So that's why I was here. But due to some time zone difference, I was a little late. I thought it was supposed to be like yesterday 7:45 p.m. So I was waiting yesterday for this meeting. Like I was like half an hour in the Zoom app, like waiting for when will it start. But then I got a message from someone like it's in 7:30, like it's in the morning, like our Nepali time zone is like 13 hours and 45 minutes late from Pacific time. So I just woke up right now, and I was a little late. That's why.
Well, good
Better
morning.
late than never. We're happy to hear you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
How
very
did
happy
you
to have
hear about us? Amazing
good
that we
morning.
attracted someone from Nepal. That's amazing.
I mean, like I was just like surfing through like Facebook, like scrolling down. Like I'm in a screenplay community, Tyrell Roveres, and there someone suggested me, like he suggested like if you want to like improve your writing and uh, all of this stuff, like this is a very like good community here,
Yeah.
who like do screenplays like online live. So I thought, why not? Let's like it's interesting. I love to do it,
And we love
That is
having
awesome.
and I enjoy it really. Thank you all, guys.
Thank you.
That's awesome. We look forward to
I guess
yeah.
I'm thinking like to be regular on these like readings.
Yay.
All right. Well, we look forward to having you on a future read.
excellent.
And is there anywhere you have any social media presence that you would want anybody to go to or not yet?
I mean, I'm not like professional. I'm just like in high school right now. But if anyone wants to contact, like I have Facebook and Instagram. So I have put my Facebook there,
Okay.
right there in the chat.
All
So
right.
yeah,
Cool.
that's my Facebook.
All right. Thank
And
you.
I'm sorry, you said it's morning where you are?
Yeah, it's morning. It's 7:30 a.m.
Okay. So Suba Parapta? That's not cool.
Super provide.
Subra.
Oh, you know Nepali.
I know like 4 things in Nepali, and that's like one of them. So good morning.
Oh really? How did you like come to know?
We'll talk later.
Yeah, we'll
She's
talk
a
about some of
human,
this.
you know what, Aviskar,
Sure.
she's a human encyclopedia who knows
Yeah.
absolutely everything.
This is your
Yeah,
introduction to Petra. So the random facts from all around the
Her
world.
nickname is literally Petrapedia.
Oh wow.
But we'll talk about more of this in the after show after our little
Yeah.
intermission, after we introduce the last few. Clint
Sure.
Monroe. Jack.
Hey, what's going on, Clint Monroe? Yeah, I've been here for a while. I'll plug it just a little bit. I mean, Abiskar plugged it pretty well, but dude, stick around, man. Like I've been doing this for a year and my writing's gone much better. And there's so much to pay attention to, and you're just absorbing it and downloading it. It's really fun. Plus, it's a great community of people. They're super supportive, and you get to play a bunch of your favorite characters, and it's awesome, man. And then you get to study, this was an awesome script. Yeah, I'm still taking a break from social media. I've got some other issues that I'm concerned about at the moment right now. But this is still kind of my thing, my jam. Really, really enjoyed the script. A lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about what people think about this. I haven't seen all of the series, and so studying this, I was practicing the art of trying not to get spoilers in there while also trying to study what this guy did. I think I nailed it, but we'll see. Anyways, I'll pass it on.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. And Roger.
Hey, you all. Grateful to be reading with you. This started this month, actually, beginning of this month. And I'm an actor, writer, director, producer, singer, musician. Instagram, Roger Anthony D. And yeah, it's one of my favorite series. I've seen the whole series, so it's just kind of brought flashbacks of that finale.
Yeah, it's impactful. And Heather Lee Cameron.
Hello, my name is Heather Lee Cameron. I'm a writer, I'm an actor, I'm a voice actor, I'm an independent filmmaker, and I'm a family history research student from Lethbridge, Alberta. You can find my work on Facebook, Heather Lee Freelancer, or on YouTube under the Storm and Latter-day Saint. I've got Facebook profiles under Heather Lee Cameron, Twitter, Chameleon 77771, Twitter, Heather Lee Cameron, TikTok, the Storm and Latter-day Saint. You can pretty much find me in most places, and I'm definitely looking for work, even though I'm in school right now, and I can do a lot of voiceover work and acting work. Just contact me through heather.lee.cameron@gmail.com. I actually auditioned for a couple of things just recently and within the last week, and yeah. And I'm very much published, very much practiced. I've been a professional since I was a teenager. I'm not in any unions yet, but that could someday change. That's a hope of mine, a dream of mine, and I'm not represented either. So let's have a conversation.
Yet. Yeah. Cool. Cool. And Roxane.
I'm Roxane Armstrong. It's a little hard to follow those last two with all of their multiple titles. I'm a Central Alberta actor. I studied theater once upon a time and would love to get my toe a little more into film. And this is just my second time here, just looking to stick my toes back into some creative field. In my other life, I'm a social marketer for a health and wellness company. So my face is kind of, I talk a lot on Facebook, but you can find me on Facebook as Roxane Armstrong or on Instagram as Roxanie. And that's me.
All right. How is that zany spelled, just to be sure?
It's rock, like the rock, and zany, Zainey.
All right. Cool. Thank you. And last but never least, Angel Peterson. Hiding from us.
Hi, I'm Angel. I'm available here, or able to find me here, and I'm just trying to work on edits and improve my my color correction because that needs some work. So I'm looking at getting work as an editor. That's about
You're
it.
also a good script writer because we read some of your scripts. So don't.
Yeah, if that could pay more consistently, that'd be awesome. I do love writing.
And you're very social and personable.
Every
Is
once
there
in a while.
anywhere anybody can look to see any editing or samples or contact you or any of that?
Yeah, I'm working on putting some more things up on my YouTube. Right now, there's some things, very limited amount. And I think my YouTube is Angel CDP. So some things from years and years ago, and then a few years ago and a year ago, but I don't think there's anything recent right now. So I'm just doing some of that.
All right, cool. We look forward to the updates and all of us doing growth. But right now we'll do the intermission and we'll come back in about 5 minutes. Look at you guys' clocks, 5 minutes. And then we'll talk more about us all growing and improving through the scripts and what we learned and what the actors think of this. And we'll talk soon. All right, see you guys soon. And as everyone else is leaving, I'll say, like as Abhiskar mentioned, and everyone mentioned the community, we have a Facebook group. So you can go in that Facebook group. You can see our schedule of all of the scripts that we're going to read for the year. And you can let us know when you're available and which scripts you're interested in. And then we also have the Facebook page. We have an Instagram page that we have to update. And we have a Twitter page. And where you're watching this on YouTube. So if you made it this far and you like this stuff, like, subscribe, share, and let others know to be part of this awesome community. And as we all learn and grow together. All right. See you guys soon.
Right back.
Right. Thanks, guys. I guess we're supposed to be leaving.
Can you hear me? We take a 5-minute
No,
break.
you can stay if you want.
Yeah, you can stay there if you want. But
We
this-
take
around,
a
we talk
5-minute
more.
break.
yeah, we
Oh,
talk
really?
Take a
about-
5-minute
No.
break to collect ourselves after the read, and then we talk about what we just read.
Yeah, so if you like been
Hmm.
waiting, I gotta go to the bathroom, or you're like, I need a drink. Now's when we go to the bathroom. We get
It's
a
okay.
drink, maybe a little snack.
No,
Even just stretch our legs, and then we come back and we'll talk about the episode and all that stuff.
Oh, really? Fine. That's okay, man.
Yeah. So if
Like-
you need a break, you can take one.
This-
If not, let's just hang out.
I'm good.
All
I
right.
just need some water, I guess.
Yeah, that works.
Anyway, it was a good time reading with you all. Like,
Cool.
I'm just getting in like as much as exposure that I can to this community and all these writing skills.
Yeah, and it's cool. Now we have figured out more so the time difference of when it would happen
Yeah.
if you want to join future ones.
Right.
What's going to be cool about this and where you are in your journey is we always hear these rules of like screenplay has to be this way, be that way, be this and that. And everyone talks all these rules. And you'll see other people sometimes saying against them. And what you find out from reading a lot of these, now this one we'll talk about more afterwards, is more of an exception because he's the writer, the director, and the showrunner, and they've already been doing it for 5 seasons. So he said a lot more that other people might not always say in their scripts, but it just shows you how much by reading these go like, wow, they break a lot of those rules and stuff we're told not to. But of course, there's always reasons people try to give you those rules as well. So, but
Yeah.
so again, you'll see that. by
I
reading
do
more
have
of
a
these.
question though. Can't script writers and stuff make their own rules?
What to a degree, everyone can make their own rules.
Because
Yeah,
they're
and I'm
telling
not
their
the
own
authority on it.
stories. Their script writers are telling their own stories. So the way the story is told, can't they make their own rules as they're writing scripts?
Yeah, I mean, a lot they might want it in script format, like most people want it like that, or they might not receive it. But yeah, they can write it how they want, as feels the best way to tell the story. But again, I'm not the authority. But yeah, a lot of writers have
Well,
proven
who
that they've
is?
no one.
Because you say you're not the
I'm-
authority, but who is the authority?
No, I'm just saying that, yeah, there's no specific authority. It'll be the individuals that you reach out for that one script, and then they'll say yes or no, and then you just got to find the right person or do it to a certain enough levels that enough people will be willing to look at it or read it.
Okay.
But, yeah. And sorry, we seem to come back earlier. We were just talking in the meantime, so everybody don't rush back. Still take your break that you need.
Well, we have to keep up with you because you are like this energizer bunny who never takes a break.
Yeah, Jacob is like
Break.
highly energized.
Jacob never sleeps. He literally
Well-
stays up teaching classes at 1 a.m. He does not sleep. I swear on everything.
And these seem to have no effect on me, but I did have these today, so we're not sponsored. We should be. Just kidding. Yeah, eventually. Well,
This man does not sleep, Avaskar. He never sleeps. I don't know. Mulder!
Mulder, welcome. All right.
Let's have our Mulder moment before we get started.
I always forget to introduce him in the introductions.
He's so cute.
Thank you.
He's Morgan's baby.
Yeah, super cute.
Mine are all asleep at my feet.
Oh,
Actually, they
how
did good. They stayed quiet the whole time.
many little fur babies do you have? 3. Oh. Are they
That's
big
awesome.
or small, or can we see them?
Just little. Here, I'll grab
You
you
don't have to wake
the
them up.
list.
Oh, grab the list.
List of the bunch.
Oh, oh,
That's Foxy. She's the little girl.
Foxy.
oh.
And then the other ones look like little pocket Ewoks.
Oh.
Super cute. All right. So who wants to get started and talk about what they think about this?
So was
script?
his whole plan, I mean, this shows my ignorance for never seeing the show, but was his whole plan along to commit suicide?
Partially, yeah, like
Oh, go ahead. Please.
he from the very beginning we find out he's dying of cancer. So he's eventually going to die anyways, and now he's a lot closer to death. And at first he was just gonna like, die quietly. And then he sees these people that, the rich people that he gives the money to give to his kids on TV saying like he had no part of this other thing, and like rejuvenates like this anger in him, and he's not going to just go quietly. And then he comes up with this plan to like tie up all the loose ends before he goes. At least that's my understanding. Petra, what do you think or feel we're going to say?
Oh no, I haven't seen the show actually. I knew.
Really? You haven't seen something and you don't know anything about something? That is so, oh my goodness.
I didn't say I know nothing about it. I just haven't seen the show.
I know
I
this,
do actually
Roger,
know a few things, not that much.
Roger, this is one of your favorites. So what would you say to that answer?
Well, no, you're absolutely right, Jacob. I mean, it's classic anti-hero. He starts off where he finds out in the pilot he has cancer, and
he finds out in the pilot.
Yeah,
5
and
seasons ago.
Yeah. So what happens is that just to give you in a nutshell,
Jesse is his former student, and he decides to start making meth because he is a science teacher, and decides to use that and become like kind of the new drug kingpin of the area. I think I actually realized that this takes place in Santa Fe, doesn't it? Not, I knew it took place in New Mexico. Is it Albuquerque or Santa Fe?
Albuquerque.
So he gets the drugs for like some sort of pleasure he wants to have before he dies, or what?
Oh, it has nothing to do with that. He's literally just trying to amass as much money as possible so that his family's okay when he dies.
Yeah,
and
his motives at the very beginning are like he knows he's dying and he doesn't have enough money to take care of his family and his kids. So he's like, I need to help them somehow. But by the end of it, as he said in this one with Skylar, which is a huge turning point, is where he eventually says he did it for him and he liked it and he felt alive. But that was not his initial known motives.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, it's a great character arc going from family man to Heisenberg, basically. And for me, it's just like sort of like Macbeth, it's just one tragedy after tragedy after. It's basically goes downhill from.
Nicely done, Roger. You just doomed the channel by saying that instead of the Scottish play. Gee, thanks. I'm just kidding.
I know. It's the play, the Scottish play, which actually I was in the 5th grade. I played one of the 3 murderers. But anyway, it's just a great character arc for Walt, and the relationship between not just Walt and Jesse, but Walt and his family, his wife, his son, and Hank. Obviously, Hank is the brother-in-law who died early on, but
we gave you guys spoiler warnings. Just kidding.
Yeah.
All right. Continue, Roger. Or anyone else have some thoughts or questions?
Well, just I know this was brought up pretty frequently when we were talking about The Sopranos when we did the college episode a few weeks ago. So I know that was that was one of the things, especially when in that episode, spoilers if you haven't seen The Sopranos from 20 years ago. But no, even in the episode that we watched, they had fought really hard. Like the network was like, no, you can't have him kill somebody. It's going to make him unsympathetic. And they're like, no, this is who he is. And it helps establish his character and stuff like that. And they did it. And he was still likable. He's not a protagonist. Tony Soprano is not a protagonist. He's the lead. He's the main character, but he's not a protagonist necessarily. But he's also, they set it up as like, a sort of sympathetic or at least likable anti-hero. And Roger, you were referencing Breaking Bad a lot for this one, and I was like, yeah, and I think Clint brought it up too, but it was just, that was kind of like the archetype for, you don't have to have like the squeaky clean, good guy. You also don't have like, bad guys can wear can wear white, good guys can wear black. It's okay. Don't have that super cookie cutter. You can have characters with interests and depth and dimension to them that makes them more interesting and cool without them just being good or bad, evil or whatever. And it's like, I thought this was a good through line on the ones that we were talking about when we did the Sopranos episode. So
yeah, like you point out, Petra, which answers the question you had earlier, Heather, is like that they were basically telling Sopranos, no, you can't really do this. This will happen. These are like the rules. These are the gatekeepers and people saying the rules. You can't really do that. But like you said, Heather, they made up their own rules and they broke that mold.
Well,
and like
I
they said, for Breaking Bad, they wouldn't have been able to do this without Sopranos.
I think gatekeepers are the reason a lot of stories don't get told. I think the whole gatekeeper concept when it comes to script writing is a load of crap. I think stories should be told and people who know how to write should be able to write what they want so stories can get told. I mean, that's what it is. It's a new world. Why can't stories get told that? I mean, people shouldn't write something that's entirely in bad taste, but they should be able to write the stories that mean something to them.
Yep. Everyone can write it, but yeah, it'll be, you got to find a way to
Like
break
they should
through
learn
and get
about
them.
formatting and proper like script formatting and everything like that, and punctuation and things that make a story good, like punctuation wise, format wise, storytelling wise, but they shouldn't have restrictions on what they can write. They should be able to tell the stories that mean something to them.
And even scripts break a lot of the rules. But I do have a question for everybody. Who hasn't seen it? All right. So at least half of us have not seen it.
I mean, I have seen up to like season 4, but I haven't touched season 5. So I was like, worrying about spoilers.
Oh, yeah. You were here for us to give the big spoiler warning. So you got it totally
Yeah.
spoiled for you.
Oh, no.
Yeah, a lot actually.
I watched season.
I think that was 1, 2, 3. What was it? It cut off.
You're muted.
Sorry, what?
Oh, your mic.
Oh, her mic is cut off.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just saying that I have watched like season 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, but never touched 5
yet. Yeah.
Yet. I mean, I just finished season 4 yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Cool. So if we had one more day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Um,
I've just seen
what
a
was
little bit, but enough to know what's going on. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it all
I mean,
but it was years ago.
Same here.
What was that,
I
Roger?
think watching the whole series, it was just a good study, especially if you break down the pilot. It's a good study in writing, if you're Vince Gilligan, and it's a good study in relationships. It's a good study of characters. We didn't even get to Gus, who's played by Giancarlo Esposito, who's stellar. Like that character is just stellar. And just, I think Vince Gilligan and the writing of this is an anomaly because, you don't see TV scripts written like this. I mean, you don't. But he, like I said before, is carte blanche from, executive producing X-Files and other shows. So he has that carte blanche, so, but I mean, for me, I've read a lot of pilots, but that pilot, when you read it and you watch it, it's just kind of like there's nothing really missing for me. It just starts out with this middle-aged white man in tidy whities, next to and there's two bodies rolling around in an RV. I mean, yeah, I'll watch this. So a middle-aged guy with tidy whities holding a gun, in the middle of a desert, so, and then everything, and then all chaos ensues. But yeah, let's start. There's a lot of great stuff about this, a lot of great things to study and learn from. from a series arc, going from his character initially, what you said, Jacob, like, I got cancer. I need to take care of my family before I die. How am I going to do this? And then the monkey wrenches start. He starts writing these monkey wrenches in. So it's really cool.
I think this episode is an example of in 1 hour, you basically can tell a story that a movie, it's a complete, as you said, Roger, it's complete. It's a complete story in 1 hour, like a movie. And I think that shows, beyond it being a stellar cast, very, very good writers.
I think that what I like about it is it really shows how much character change and growth there was from that pilot to the people they are now. And it really quite ties it up with a bow. Like, this is a series finale.
Yeah, I always love it when you get to see the end of a show. There's nothing worse than seeing a show, even if it's a good writing. I mean, if it's just bad writing and a bad show, then, whatever. But if it's a good writing and then it just didn't quite hit all of the 4-quadrant target markets and they just axe it. I mean, there was a couple of shows that I watched in college where they just like got rid of it and there's no resolution. And you're like, what the hell, dude? I mean, I was in the middle of this, like, imagine if they just like, sorry, people aren't super into meth from Albuquerque right now. Let's just cut it at season 3. You'd be like, what the you know what I mean? So I'm glad
I would hope
resolution.
Go ahead, Heather.
Is it just me, or does it bear similarities to the House MD finale?
Given that I haven't seen the House MD finale, I'm not sure. But
well, certain things happen to certain people that bear similarities to this. I'll say that in case people want to watch House.
Thank you. I love that show. It's great.
So you understand what I'm saying?
No, I forget the finale. I must have missed that or not.
Well, should I talk about it then so you understand what I'm saying?
I don't know enough to that. I only saw random episodes.
Well, basically, should I just talk about it then?
Yep. Whoever doesn't want to hear it, plug their ears, skip forward.
Okay, so in the end episode, House, like a bunch of stuff happens and House ends up doing time at the beginning, like somewhere in the series, and then he pulls a prank near the end of the series and he's facing revocation of probation. Then he ends up getting high and being in a house that's on fire, and he ends up having his friend dying of this cancer, and so he fakes his death to take his friend on this dying friend on this motorcycle trip, and his friend is just beside himself because at first he thinks his friend is dead, and then at the funeral they all hold for House. His friend gets this text, "Shut up, you idiot," and this friend finds out that House faked his death, and they go off on this motorcycle ride together. It's a happy ending.
Where do you see the relations from that one and
because
this
basically the main character in Breaking Bad set himself up to die, and so did House.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Sounds like my last week.
Uh-oh.
It's been busy.
And maybe, I guess, I don't know, he might kill me for spoiling Lost too. It's sort of similar to Lost a little bit as well.
All right, we should stop the spoilers here and the thing.
The goal was not to spoil every single TV show, just the ones that we read here. Okay.
When we read that one, we'll spoil that one.
Yeah,
but
that works.
From what?
Oh crap! I didn't know. Sorry, I didn't read. Lost was on the list.
To be fair, I care on the huge spectrum of shows. Lost is like so far down there. It ranks slightly higher than like, I don't know, reality television like The Bachelor, and anything to do with the Kardashian is like sub basement 17. I don't ever want to see that. But as far as like TV shows, especially those rated to be like good, I'm just I kind of don't care, but I'm also just like, I'm worried we're gonna get a little off topic. And not that we don't ever get off topic on the show. Abigail, please don't think that we stick to any type of format or anything on here. We routinely walk those little birds in circles, but we trying to drag it back to the path because
I apologize. I just like to compare.
Don't apologize.
Comparing is good.
comparing 1 to 1 is good. Comparing 12 other ones, no, we bring it back. That was all I
Yes.
was gonna say.
And with what Clint was saying, like what I would hope the industry would get to eventually is almost like in this thing, if you sign what's it called? You get a series of shows. If they're ever going to cancel you and they don't give you enough notice, you get one more episode, at least to try and tie it up for the fans or audience or something like that's what I
Yeah,
hope in the future would be in every season contract. But come on,
Yeah.
WGA, let's get this going.
What is it that there's a really hilarious analogy that Sheldon makes on one of the episodes of Big Bang Theory. He's like, I just want to know what would have happened. He's like, I think it's Heroes systematically lowered its quality every season until nobody cared. Firefly, gave us the movie Serenity to wrap everything up. And I'm like, I mean, that's wrong. It's wrong, but it's the Firefly thing, still makes me sad. But yes, the Heroes thing, I was like, ooh, it's a bit of a burn, guys. It's a bit harsh, but I think there's absolutely, yeah. And having a comment like we were in the side chat, yeah, I don't know. If you have a show that is perfect, we were having this discussion last time about WandaVision. It's the same thing with a show like this. It's like there are shows that I actually consider just as they are to be really good. As much as I love playing in that particular sandbox, I don't think it needs to be anything else than what it was, than what we got, but then it's like you also have the flip side to that, which is if it reached a perfect conclusion and it really couldn't have gone anywhere else and anything else would wreck this perfect thing that you have, and that's great. But then you have the ones that just take it to like an unnatural length. It's like it goes on for way too many seasons. They have no content. All of any character arc or growth is like, oh, you actually had them resolved and in a really good place like 2 seasons ago. Oh, they've completely destroyed their life now because you need engagement from your audience. Fantastic. That was a great and perfect ending, like only a few characters get in a lifetime. But yes, by all means, let's please bring them back and have them divorce their perfect husband and wreck their career and decide to go off on some weird tangent just because you want to keep the show going for another 2 seasons when it has maybe 2 episodes of content. So
and
I'm not bitter about this at all.
On that note, I don't expect those who haven't seen the show to see these, but who saw Better Call Saul or El Camino?
A little
Did
bit.
anyone watch this?
Here.
All right. So, Abhiskar, what do you think? Like, did you think they tied in? Were they good? Were they not as good? Like, how do you feel about them? If anybody who doesn't know, one of those is basically the prequel of Breaking Bad, and the other one is basically a sequel. One's the lawyer before all of this happening, working with some of the people in it. The other one is Jesse, who we saw drive off in the end of this one, what happened more in his life. I haven't really watched any of them, so I can't say. So it's all up to you, Abhiskar.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
If you want to say. If you don't want to say,
Hello?
that's okay too. Yeah, now we hear you.
Sorry, what? Can you once repeat?
What do you think of Better Call Saul and El Camino, if you've seen them?
I mean, I don't know about El Camino, but I have seen like Saul. We're talking about Saul Goodman, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is like he did have like good like influence in a character like Walter White's and Jesse's character. Like he was a stagnant supporting character, I would say, from the start. Like despite his questionable morals, like he was a skilled and resourceful attorney. Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. Who else has thoughts on this show? Thank you, Abhiskar. Or I know Clint was trying to like take out these notes and not get spoilers. So what are some of the things you
It worked.
picked up on?
Actually, I don't know if any of you guys caught the nest egg, but Vince Gilligan actually meant for Jesse Eisenberg to be the grown-up version of the kid from Up, if you guys knew that.
No.
Just
I know originally they only expected him to be in like one episode and then die and get killed or whatever, but they loved him so much. They brought him back and he was here throughout all of this, and they got his own show afterwards. And
yeah, for sure. I mean, he's set now, Yeah, no, I was just I mean, the awesome part about this is, I was watching the master class of Aaron Sorkin, and he's talking about like how many factors there are when it comes to writing a script. That there's just a million things to keep in mind. But at a certain point, you just got to rip it. You know what I mean? You just got to do it. And I guess come back to it and whatnot. And so I've been kind of learning that lesson as I've been doing this for the last year. You read something and you start writing, and then you look at holes in your own writing. And then you read a script, and then that becomes your focus. And so I noticed a lot in some of the scripts that I've written. It's not like the descriptions are not as vivid as they could be. And so I was just watching this, and this is just like a masterpiece. Like when he's talking about Jesse's wood shop, I mean, just the level of description. I mean, you can see exactly what's going on. It's word for word. There's no generalities or anything like that. It's like, bam, it's like super expensive wood. It looks like this. He's holding the plane, his hands over there. There's like 3 hairs on his knuckle or whatever. You know what I mean? So I was taking that, and then I'm curious as to what Morgan thinks, because she's the professor du jour when it comes to screenwriting. But in my opinion, I loved the attitude that Vince Gilligan brought in this. I mean, the voice that he writes in is pretty amazing, but I would almost bet that comes from having 5 seasons under his belt with, whatever profit margins he's making writing it. Whereas if you're a beginning script writer and you wrote in this voice, I feel like people would throw that script away. That's just my own perspective. I think it was great. But what do you think on that, Morgan? Because there was a lot of like in your face. I mean, he talks directly to the reader multiple times, which I loved. Very similar to William Goldman, in how he talks to that. I thought it was brilliant. I loved everything about it. But yeah, what do you think, Morgan, Toll, and Mulder? Fox Mulder.
Well, I have not seen the show.
Okay.
And for somebody that has not seen the show, it was a bit harder for me to follow. I am somebody that already does not like a whole bunch of action description. I am a dialogue person. I felt like a lot of the action description was for the crew and the cast, and it was not for somebody to just read the script like a reader. And if you're a fan of the show, I'm sure it's super cool to get to see that kind of stuff. But for me, it totally took me out of the story. And it was really hard for me to follow.
Yeah, fair enough.
And see, I'm like a flip, because even though I hadn't watched the show, I was, I think, familiar enough with it that some of the stuff made sense to me. And then also, yes, it's a boatload of action description, but this kind of reminds me of 2 things. One, when we were talking about the like a written storyboard idea, that like exactly the shot that you want is the one that you were writing into the description and stuff like that. And also the little notes to like, hey, whatever we can get cleared. Hey, can we do this? What do we have for this type of thing? And I was like, there was a script on the blacklist, I want to say from this past year. And they literally at one point they're like, and honestly, I can't be bothered to Google that at this point. So we're just going to go with that's probably true. And I was like, I can't believe you got away with that in a script. But it's like, obviously they liked it enough to at least put it on the blacklist. But it was just, I found it very interesting that like, I kind of wonder sometimes if are you dictating the script when stuff like that ends up in it? Or is that just really your writing process and this is how your brain comes across on a page? Because it does make me curious about that. Like, and
I will say, like, if you're a showrunner who's they're on their 5th season, correct? I would say anything's game at that point.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you've proven you've
Yeah.
earned your stripes. You've proven your chops. But
You can
for
pretty much
anybody else,
put anything in a script. If you're the showrunner and it's the 5th season and it's your finale. This is not something you would see on a pilot. This is not something you would see sent to any reader.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
But I mean, it was
I will-
super enjoyable to read. Sorry about that. Go for it.
No. I will say if you do read a pilot, it's somewhat similar. I mean, that's Vince's writing style. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
And-
we'll go on the White House, the description, all that kind of stuff. It's not as, the pilot's not as descriptive as, I guess, what we just read, because there was a ton of action. I mean, there was just a ton of action in the finale. But if you read the pilot, you'll say, wow, this is not, every rule is broken here. And I guess the gatekeeper or the execs were like, okay, I could see this,
More of the
Um,
notes to like where they were talking to the crew saying, sorry about that. You would only do that if you had a crew. So it wouldn't be something you would have had in the pilot.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that stuff, like that's not in a pilot, but as far as description and actions and stuff, it's a boatload. It's more so than your traditional pilot, where it's a lot more white than ink.
Yeah.
So, but that's
It
been
did-
Gilligan.
Yeah. One
I-
thing I did find interesting, I think at one point he references Michael when he's talking about the lighting of the set and stuff like that. I think that's a reference to Michael Flowers, right? He was the set decorator for the show.
Or he
think-
said something like to the DP, he's if we ever get to make a beautiful shot, then we'll do this for the woodworking shop.
I'm pretty sure he said it to Michael, but one of the pieces of trivia that I know about this, because I met friends and stuff like that and people from Albuquerque, when the show ended, they actually held a funeral for Walter in Albuquerque.
Wow.
And Michael Flowers, who he was either the second decorator or the designer, one of the two, but he had something to do with like the way that the show itself like physically like looked. And he actually dressed up in like the hat and the glasses and delivered a eulogy, which I thought was kind of funny. But yeah, they had one or two of the people that I met when they moved out here, and they just moved from an Albuquerque location, and so like they had gone to like the restaurant that they used to sub for the what is it, La Pollos Hermanos, the chicken brother, the restaurant that's in the thing. And
Yeah, Pollos Hermanos.
and the freaking house where the pizza lands on the roof, and they had like they're like the people that live there, they're like, please stop coming and throwing pizzas on our roof, please stop it. It's like, I don't know, it's got to be a weird double-edged sword, I think, to live in any type of house or anything that's used in a famous thing. It's like it either becomes a tourist attraction whether you want it to or not, or you just steer into the skid and you start charging, admission or something. It's like, yes, $5 and you too can touch the wall or something. I don't know.
Or throw a pizza.
No, don't throw a pizza. They hate that.
No, but they
hate it.
charge for that. They charge for that.
They've
They'll say
moved-
like, you
they've
can just
moved
throw a
twice.
pizza for $20. They sell it
Yeah.
themselves.
That's a deal.
Yeah.
Um,
Apparently the guy for like 6 months after the show ended, or especially after that episode came out, he was sitting outside with a pellet gun full of rock salts. He couldn't fire anything lethal, like potentially lethal, but he was like literally firing rock salt at like cars and like people if they were to the edge of the driveway, because that's like a non-lethal distance. And I was like, yeah, again, I feel your pain, sir. That's gotta suck.
I'm sorry, that sounds like it came straight out of Schitt's Creek and Corner Cats.
but it's real. Yeah. I try to stay
And
away
the
from
pizzas.
TikTok, but I got sucked in, but I'm trying to use it for good. And one of the persons I follow, which you're not going to be able to see because it's too bright, is Paul Guyot. And he's a screenwriter, and it's under Screenwriting Truth. And one of the things he says, kind of like you were saying, Roger, that of this compared to the pilot, minus those things that are different from it being 5 seasons, as you were saying, Morgan, which also answers Heather's question, is that a lot of people say, oh, the writer only did this like because they're so and so. They could get away with it because they're so and so, and because they already have this name and stuff. And he goes like, if you look at their writing from earlier on, they wrote the same way. They didn't decide to change their writing style once they got famous or whatever. Like, this is who they are and how they write, and that's what got them to there.
Fair enough. I dig it. Like I said, I mean, one way or the other, I mean, I don't care if you changed it or not. I think it's phenomenal writing. I really, really enjoyed it. And it kind of models the attitude that I put into a lot of the stuff. It almost like gave me, what do you call it?
Validation.
Yeah, like almost like permission to keep doing what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Because you see scripts that are like on to the point or whatever, and you're like, oh, maybe I should pull that back. That was a little bit on the nose. And then you see this and you're like, fuck yeah, you know? So I love that. I thought it was really good. I thought it was really funny. I thought it had a lot of attitude. And I love the way that he talks to the cast and crew, because you think about it, you're working on this project and then it's like you're reading this and you're sitting there as the gaffer and you're like, fuck yeah, this is awesome, dude. I can't wait to work on it. You know, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be so fun. And then you get to hold it. It's like, you know, a part of you. And it's a script. So other than places like Table Read Tuesdays, it's usually behind the scenes and nobody gets to really know it. So it makes it a special experience for your cast and crew, you know? So I really appreciate it. It's something that I'm definitely going to do.
I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Jake,
For those
in
who haven't
answer to
talked
your
yet,
question, 1 second. Yeah, just real quick. No, the thing
Yeah.
I figured out, because
Oh, yeah.
they were focusing, they were like really hero shotting the stevia packet, and they'd mentioned the ricin, and I was like, would he have put that in there? Because you see that he's there, and then like it gets to right before when he picks up the phone, I was like, oh, she's sick. He put ricin in the stevia. I sent it in the thing, but I sent it as a private message instead, and I was like, oh, dude. So yes, that's what I figured out in answer to your question. Please.
all right, cool. Well, I was just gonna say, like, who else haven't had a chance to say much? Like Vicky, Aaron, Roxanne, we haven't heard much from you guys yet, or Angel. So all right, so Aaron can't too much because for a microphone today, which is sad. Anyone else?
I guess
Yes.
like this last episode which we just read, like I think it's like the best aspect of it was like it expertly like tied up all loose ends and like brought closer to the story of Walter White. Like the script was like masterfully written with tension and suspense building to a climax, which was like both satisfying and emotionally impactful and very spoiler giving to me, as I've not seen it yet. And the characters, like particularly Bryan Cranston's, who portrayed like Walter White, like he gave like a powerful performance that surely left a lasting impression. And the story like story has been like building for 5 seasons, reaching a fitting conclusion that is both shocking and I'd say poignant. Like overall, it was like masterful example of storytelling and character development. Like this episode like really stand out as it was obviously the last one too.
Yeah.
Like overall it was like incredibly engaging. The script is the way it developed the characters, the main character Walter White, who started off as a meek and assuming a high school chemistry teacher and transferred into this ruthless drug lord over the course of the series. His evolution was like, both believable and shocking. And like the scripting was excellent job of showing how his choices and actions lead him down this dark path. Like it was emotionally resonant and thought-provoking too. Provoking, sorry.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's one reason too. A lot of writers or different individuals say they like new series over some like
his writing
movies
was like
because
very good. Like it like it kept me whole time on the edge of my seat while watching the series. It was good.
and they have the seasons to go through this arc instead of 2 hours. But even though they have more time, that doesn't mean they always take their time. Like Anthony, if you were pointing out like how much they get through on the pilot, like you find out that what his situation is, like you might think, oh, they're going to spend time in a situation, time with his family, time his normal world for the whole entire episode, and maybe at the end of it you find out he has cancer or something. But no, you see is, I forget it, so correct me, but it seems like you find out that what his normal world is, that he has cancer, that he doesn't have enough money, he has to find a solution, you meet all these people, and then he comes up with this plan, and he actually already puts it into place, and there's already death happening, and already the police coming, like all that happens in the first episode. Even though they would have all this more time, they still get into it and have it going quick. But
Yeah, I was watching
Yeah.
a breakdown of what's it called? Cobra Kai. And they do that through Blake Snyder's beat board. And it's like these episodes, I mean, they're very much similar to movies where they hit all these beats, you know, and then it's just one episode, and then you like flip to another episode and you do the same thing. It's just you have other stories that carry on over. So it's like each one functions like, you know, it's got it, they filled in all the beats for that one, but then carry on other stories through, you know.
Well, Jacob, I mean, can you blame him for wanting to go to fast pace? When you have cancer, it's like your whole world goes into fast forward. You don't have time to rest. You don't have time to think. You just have to go and figure out what the hell you're going to do. Because when you have cancer, you have to think of yourself. You have to think of your family. You have to think of the future. It's like your brain never gets a chance to rest from the time you get diagnosed to the time whatever is supposed to happen and whatever's going to happen.
Definitely not blaming anyone, but I think that could be great motivation of why the writer would want to go fast as well for those reasons. So that's good.
And
But,
also,
yeah,
do want to add on the pilot. When you watch it, it's the teaser, and then it's not a linear thing where they do the teaser and then they cut back to. I'm like, oh, and so now you're hooked. It's like, how did they get there? You know, so you're watching it. And I will say personally, because when you're watching this series, it's like this downward, everything's like tragedy, tragedy, tragedy. And I'm like, oh my God, when is this going to end? Something, you know, and after Hank dies, it's like, this is like this train careening off a cliff or something. So it could have ended sooner, but you know, it's definitely would have gone past 5 seasons, in my opinion. But who knows? You know, they could have done they already did the spin-off with El Camino and the prequel with Better Call Saul, which I haven't watched, but I heard it's a good show.
Yeah. Unless it's a procedural that can go on forever. I like them to have a plan of a finished arc. So like you were saying, someone was saying earlier that they just don't keep it going. I think Petra, they don't keep it going too much and add to it and like ruin it. Like have a plan. And even though it's hard to give up money, stick to it.
That unfortunately does not always mean that you get to, even if you have a plan, that you get to follow that plan. I still find it kind of crush. I mean, Brian Fuller's probably one of my favorite show creators, and just
some of the shows they made.
Brian Fuller, he did like Wonderfalls and Pushing Daisies, and which was really good, and that got cut way short. They were actually midway through filming the season, and they got told they were getting cut at the end of that season instead of having one more. And I'm like, oh, no! And he had like 3 episodes to wrap a bunch of stuff up, so like half the dangling plot threads and storylines just got cut with no resolution. I was devastated. But even when he had like a further plot out, and I mean, Hannibal is probably one of my favorite shows. It's just, yes, something in season 2 made me rage quit the series, not once but twice, but then I've gotten through it like a couple times since then. But it's like, I mean, he had this like great, you know, arc plan. You know, the first 3 seasons were going to be all build up and you know, set up and everything like that. And then I think season 4 was supposed to be Red Dragon, which got turned into a couple of different film adaptations, and then season 5 would have been Silence of the Lambs. They would have tried to find a through line with the Clarice Starling character, and then season 6 would have been probably either Hannibal or a combination of like the backstory and everything. And I'm like, that's a great idea if you were unaware that you were getting canceled. So they had to mash like at least 3 seasons worth of content into this final season when they found out they were getting canceled due to low ratings. And I'm like, so they mashed like the Red Dragon thing, they have the Francis Dollaride thing in there, they mashed a lot of it. And I'm like, that just devastates me, because it's like the show is great as it is, but it could have gone on and reached its full potential and been a thing. But it's like, I mean, it could always come back and stuff like that, but it's just, it's shows like that. I think having a plan does not always help you, but I think it should help.
And as you mentioned, Pushing Daisies there. So I'll say we're going to read the pilot for Pushing Daisies on June 13th. And earlier we mentioned Everything Everywhere All at Once, which has a lot of Oscar nods, and we'll see if they win. And we're going to read that June 20th. So just things to look forward to.
I guess the next read is City Song.
Yes, the next read is from one of the fans of the show that had entered multiple contests. So right now we're seeing what a veteran writer has written and who is the showrunner and writing his 5th season. So now we'll see what a, not quite as pro writer writes and how their style and work difference, is different.
Yeah.
So, and then we'll be able to, give thoughts and feedback on that since it's unproduced, maybe can help. Unless it's perfect, then, we'll just sit in silence and praise it.
Dude, Abascar, write a show like this, man. Let's put Wall on the map. This show like single-handedly made Albuquerque a film state,
Yeah.
So
like New
do
Mexico
that.
film
And dude, I'll come over there. I'll work. You want me to hold up some lights? I'll do that, dude. For sure.
It's not prohibitively far from me either. So there you go. We'll start on the coast and just drive in and end up in Albuquerque. Land of Enchantment.
Definitely someday.
No, I'm talking about Nepal. We're going to Nepal.
Oh, Nepal. Yes. Oh, even better.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
Kathmandu.
Which is
Kathmandu.
not. Okay, we'll go wherever, man. Where you at?
I mean, I'm here in Nepal. Like, if you
Are you in
ever
Kathmandu, or where you at?
No, I'm a little far like south from Kathmandu. There are like 3 regions in Nepal, like the Himalayan region, the top of the world, like top mountains. Then it's hilly, and then it's plains. So I'm in the plains right now.
Okay, is it badass? Should we come?
Yeah, like I'm
make
like
a movie?
20. Definitely, like I'm 20 kilometers away from the place where Buddha was born. Like from
Dang.
Lumbini.
All right, so that's your story, and we'll call that Fixing Good, and it'll be the story of Buddha in the plains.
Definitely.
Sick.
One day we will surely.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right.
I'm loving this community. Like, I'm looking forward to like show up to another readings just after like city. What is this? Our City Song, yeah, City Song, and after that, I guess it is How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like February are all kind of those ones. It's like How I Met Your Mother, Bridgerton, Sex and the City, You, and stuff. So yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna learn a lot now.
I'm looking
Really
forward
helps.
I'm gonna
This
absorb
one
as much as
If
I
you got friends, bring friends, because we need diversity.
Yes.
Yeah,
especially
I would
for the
definitely
division.
like. I have like some friends, like they are older than me, like 20, 22. They're from Nepal. They are also like aspiring filmmakers. I'm also like a lot into it. So
Okay.
I'll tell them.
Even from like the regional film standpoint, they probably have some very interesting insights. If they came and joined us of an evening, we would love that. So
Yeah, definitely. Like they made 2 short film. Like one was Loop, and I don't know what other was, but it was good.
that
All
is
right,
so
cool.
cool.
Share those in the comments once this goes live or is posted. The short
Yeah,
films.
definitely. Like it's on the way right now. I'll update you with that.
Okay, cool.
Like we have a meeting.
Okay.
Often now. I
That
guess
sounds good.
I get to go now. Like it's almost 9:30 here, and it's my
Okay.
school time now.
Oh,
So
get to school.
Yeah, have
Can't
fun
believe
at
us.
school, man.
All right, thank you.
That's
Definitely.
late.
Thank you,
That's
Noah Silver,
isn't
for
that
joining.
late? 9:30.
Well, it's the morning, I think, for him. So he's
yeah,
just starting
it's
his
morning.
Yeah.
So I'm
But still.
already late now.
Oh,
no,
no.
I
okay.
know. I'm just saying.
Yeah. All right.
Aviskar.
Thank you for being here. We'll write you a note
Tanya-
for your
I was
teachers.
going to say Dhanyavad for joining us.
Oh,
So-
Yeah,
definitely, I would
dude.
love that.
Yeah, we're all writers, so we're good at writing fake notes to get you out of school. Excuses.
And
For
this
sure.
might be a good time for all of us to call unless others want to say something before we go.
I think I'm
No.
good.
Anyone?
Oh, I am looking
Vicky
forward.
Dykes, do you want to be his mom? Do you want to write him a note for school?
Yeah, I need that.
Come on, Vicky Dykes. Yeah.
Okay. And
Hey,
Heather,
Escobar, have you been to North America, US or Canada?
No, but I'm
let's
planning
go.
to like after like finishing my high school, I'm hoping to pursue my further study there in Canada.
Oh, sick.
cool. Very cool. Heather, what was the last thing you wanted to say?
Well, I am
Uh,
looking forward to the future reads, especially the ER and Star Trek ones, because I do
Oh,
have.
definitely.
Yes, because
I would love
I had some pieces, Star Trek essays published during the lockdowns, and I've been in
Yeah.
a Star Trek fan film.
That's
Oh, nice.
awesome.
So
And then you can.
Nice. Anyway, all the best to you all. That
All right.
was
All the best to
great
you. Have
time
fun at school.
Yeah.
reading.
Learn a lot. We'll see you soon.
Thanks. Bye.
All right.
Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Yeah.
bye.
Have a
See
good
you.
day.
See ya.
Good night, everyone. Have a great
Good
week.
night. You
Good
too.
night.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.